Hello. Yes, we're back with Type 40 Live, your live streamed magazine format Doctor Who show materializing here and now, whatever time stream or time zone you're joining us from. Welcome. Yes, Type 40 Live hitting your screen again in real time with our brand of content and conversation here on YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, we're on Rumble too, everybody. Hello again, Rumblers out there. Great to have you back. And we're across all major podcatchers too. As always, in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Settle down. It's Thursday night again. This is where we talk about the world's longest running, best loved sci-fi and fantasy TV series and the whole Whoniverse around it, both on and off the view screen, all from the comfort of our console room too. Whether it's your favourite or not, I think we've got a soft spot for most of them, haven't we? Yes. So yeah, make yourselves comfortable. Open your minds while we open our mouths and you get commenting too on this edition of Type 40 Live. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and I'm raring to go yet again. We finally got something. Well, I was going to say we finally got something to talk about. We always find something to talk about, don't we? 3.5 hours, the last one. Sorry about that, everybody. I hope you've recovered. We certainly have, and there's a lot to get stuck into. Brand new sights and sounds from across the Doctor Who universe, the new, the all-new, and the classic, all for the 60th anniversary too. Things are finally moving, aren't they? All the constituent parts are moving and something is rumbling. My God, it's taken them long enough, and we're going to be all over all of it. And I hope you are too. I hope you're game, whoever you are watching out there on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Rumble there. And if you are on Facebook, don't forget watching the Type 40 Facebook group. Hello. Now, I don't know everybody by name, but even if I did, I wouldn't be able to recognize you from here unless you hit that little blue link, because if you hit the link, then Facebook tells StreamYard who you are, and then StreamYard tells us here in the console room at Type 40 Live. We all get on first name terms, and the party can really start then, can't it? We're not drinking. You might be. Hey, well, you do you. That's what I would say. And I'm going to bring them all in now. Let's see who we've got. There's plenty of room in this console room. Where is it? Yes, here it is. There's plenty of room. Where are you? Where have you gone? There you are. There's plenty of room there, and not many soft furnishings, but they don't come much softer than our mate from Tasmania there, Mr. Matthew of Pot.
Hello.
Sir Matthew of Pot. Hello, mate.
Hi. Oh, I love that TARDIS room. It's awesome, even though it's a bit sparse.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it just needs something. It needs a coat rack.
Well, it needs at least a coat rack or hat stand or something to put your feet up on, isn't it? You know, I'm getting to that age now where, you know, if I'm sitting down and watching some Doctor Who in particular, I like to put my feet up. You know what I'm saying?
They used to have a couple of chairs, didn't they? A couple of rickety chairs in there, but you know, yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes they'd pop up. I like the ones that were made of bamboo during the Peter Davison era.
Oh, yeah.
They got out the garden furniture in the Five Doctors, didn't they? Do you remember that?
Very 80s. Very 80s. It was awesome.
And all the finger food and everything. Have you been this week, mate? Of course, you're our only real time traveller, so you're in Friday already.
I'm in the future. Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Not any flying cars yet?
The other day. No flying cars. No.
One day.
No, but the Daleks are about to invade, so it's all good.
Excellent. Well, keep us posted on that while I bring in everybody else. And she's looking very, very summery, I'm happy to say. But she always looks quite bright and effervescent. Of course she does, because she's starry-eyed girl. It's Sarah Graham.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Dan. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hi, Jack. Yes, well, the sun is shining. We've had a week full of rain, but the sun is out, so I had to brighten everything up. And school has finished for my two up here. So
Really?
yes, yeah, so summer starts now, 6 weeks.
Let's see if you're still smiling in 6 weeks' time, eh?
I don't know. We'll see.
Pulling your hair out, my God. Oh. Well, I'm happy to say, Sarah, that we can take your mind off some of that and some of the dread with what we've got to talk about on this edition of the show. I know you've got some news that you want to share as well. I'm chomping at the bit to talk about it as well. And we can talk each other through, can't we? How our days have gone, because I didn't imagine that I'd be making a certain purchase. We'll get to that later on. But yeah, you look as fresh as a daisy. We've got another daisy about to pop up now. I'm happy to say, where is she? I've got her somewhere. Where are you? There she is. Charlotte Shields.
I love that. It's like, you're like, Sarah's all summery, I've got a jumper on, because it's still...
I couldn't tell if that was a jumper.
It is, it's a jumper.
Can't you afford heating?
That's it. That's it. Well, it's just British summertime for you, Mark. This is what it's like.
Yeah, because we have
I'm in the middle of winter.
we're having 2 weather systems in one day. So because of it's easier just for me to have a jumper, then it covers both bases.
Yes.
Well, this is it. Yeah, sometimes you get 3 seasons in one day, don't you? Or even 4 if we're lucky. Yeah, people wonder why we're obsessed with the weather.
Really likes to mess with us,
That's like Tasmania.
And we do have a surprise extra panelist as well. Now, we didn't think we'd be seeing him for a couple of weeks. I don't think we better ask him too much about why he's back a little earlier than planned, because it might be driving him up the wall. That's if he's got any walls left. It's Simon Horton, all the way from Lichfield.
Yes. Good evening, all. It's lovely to be here. I shouldn't be here. Maybe I'm not actually here. Maybe I'm just a figment of your imagination. It is possible. Or maybe I'm really doing some time traveling, and in some sort of timey-wimey way, I'm here, but I'm not really here. I'm supposed to be on holiday, and that's just been delayed, I'm afraid, folks, for various complicated reasons, all to do, with the walls behind me, and the walls around me, and the roof above my head. It's all just kind of chaos here as work continues. And so it just means that my holiday is delayed. I'm not going just yet. So I'm here instead, talking to my best 2 buddies. You know, it's not all bad, is it? It's not all
Every
bad.
cloud has a silver lining.
Yes.
We're happy to have you.
Spot on. Thank you very much. Every cloud does indeed have a strontium lining, to quote the case of Androzani. So it's great to be here. What can I do? If I'm not going to go on holiday, I'm going to be with my best Who buddies. So, as I say, it's good to be here.
And in honour of that, we got in your favourite. Is this your favourite console room there? I'm not sure. It's certainly from a favourite era, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely. It is my favourite. Well, look, the truth of it is all of those classic console rooms look very, very similar. They've all got white round walls. They've got the same kind of console in the middle. Apart from, obviously, once we get to the 5 Doctors, it changes. The console changes.
Up, isn't it?
But up until that point, every room pretty much looks like this with sort of some variation. But Matt's quite right. It does need some furniture. You see, I'm just wondering now. Matt has got me thinking. I am wondering if there is any episode of Doctor Who, classic Who that we're talking now.
Yes.
Is there any episode where the TARDIS console room is completely devoid of furniture, as in that photo, or is there always at minimum the hat stand there? I wonder if anybody in the chat actually knows the answer to that.
If anybody in the chat knows, you're forgetting what our chat are like.
Yes.
They know bloody everything.
I feel I should know. I feel I should know.
I don't know.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there is no single episode when the console room has no either furniture or accoutrements or just something else in it apart from the console. But I'm putting it out there.
Do those seatbelts in Time Lash, do they count as accoutrements and accessories? Yes, they do.
And that awful pink and blue chair that the Doctor sits on in Vengeance on Varos is so empty.
Because of course when they've got the doors open a couple of times in space and it all gets all sucked out. So,
Who can say? So I want to know. I'm on a mission now. I need to know whether there was ever a console room scene with nothing in it apart from the console. I don't think so.
I honestly don't know, but I think one of them probably does know. Please like the video now, everybody, and subscribe to the channel. Check you're still subscribed and dingle the cloister bell. Dingle or dangle? Do both. Dingle and dangle the cloister bell.
No dangling on here, please.
Stop laughing at the back. To get all the notifications about what's going on here next, and when and who and why. When you find out why, maybe you can tell us. This is a show packed full of revelations and the promise of sensations as San Diego Comic-Con opens its doors there for 2023. Who will be there? Tell you who is there. Kev from the Fandom Podcast Network. He's our man on the inside. So he's having a mooch around, Sarah. He's going to see what he can find out there and report back to us about anything resembling a police box that he finds if we keep on his good side. But we've got a live chat full of our friends, fans and companions just waiting there for us now. So I think we should go and check in with them, see who's here and whether they've heard much. Should we go? Yes, go and find out. Let's go and find out. Where are we? There we are. And there we are. I think we've got a slight delay again this evening. Never mind. Okay, we have, the gang's all here. We've got lots and lots of messages. Thank you, everybody. Keep them coming thick and fast, and we'll compare notes about the last couple of days and the sights and sounds of the Whoniverse and what's to come. A crimpling doubloon. Yay, he's got it. Here he is. Ahoy, shipmates. Now, we did miss this last week, but he sent in a disclaimer and a heartfelt apology. He posted it too early. Got it in early, and it was just a bit too early for us to for StreamYard to hang on to when it started. And Matthew Butterfield's here too, and says all the buffet is out now, but please for the arrival of
Hello there.
as if we would. Ahoy, 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 and lots more ahoys. We have Richard Brooks here too. Good evening, Matthew. We've got one from you there, Sarah. So good evening to everybody. Very good. Lord Thoth's here too. Hiya, Lord Thoth. There he is with a hi. Everyone. He casts his net wide, and same with Kelly. She's here as well. Hail, chat. Hail. I'd love to know where that hail thing came from. Hello all from Carol Jude. Hello, Carol. It's been a few weeks. Hope you're keeping well, keeping out of trouble. As if
Roman. It's Roman. Hail. That's where it comes from. It's Roman, isn't it?
Yeah, would it be the emperor?
Hail Caesar.
Why
Hail? Where's Hail?
We just dropped to royalty, obviously. That's what it is. Charlotte's leading the way.
Popular parlance here on YouTube. I've never really understood why. Got one from Matt Part as well, talking to himself as always. Matt, you've been doing that for years, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm totally.
When you start to answer back, that you need to worry.
Yes.
Hello, Aidan McGeer. Hello.
3 p.m. with Aidan, wherever Aidan is. Where are you, Aidan? Apparently it's 3 p.m. with Aidan.
3 p.m. Oh, he's overseas then.
Yeah, he's in America. I'm guessing it's in the USA.
Aidan sent us a picture last week where he was watching Type 40 live streaming. He was on his jollies, on his holidays. He got his feet up on a sun lounger, and it looked beautiful outside. And this poor sod, he was sat there watching us. But I want to say hello to the Darren zone. Hello, Darren. It's hello from him. I will wait for the second half of that. Good to have you back, Darren. Gary Browser, Jackady. That's a great name. I'm starting to get the hang of saying it now. Ahoy once again, shipmates.
Ahoy, Jack.
Ahoy, ahoy. Christian from the legend of the travelling TARDIS. He smells Whovians. He always smells Whovians wherever he goes. You want to check that out, mate? Could be a sinus problem.
Is he saying that Whovians smell?
I'm a Who fan anyway.
It depends with you.
Whovians are definitely
Hello, Christian.
Not going to self-identify as...
No.
What are you identifying as today, Matt?
Yeah.
Let's not go there. Scrap that.
No.
Rewind. Edit that bit out, Dan. Edit that bit out.
Can I identify as Bok? And at least I've got some wings. I can do some. I know we never see him fly, but he must fly at some point. Hello, all, says Woodhouse 122. Hello. I wonder what happened to Woodhouse 121 and 120 and all the previous ones. I think it's
I'm guessing that they're clones, and so all the previous Woodhouses have just sort of disappeared off into the ether. I'm guessing.
Stranger things have happened, Simon. Stranger things have happened. Wendology's here too. We are indeed blessed. Good evening, lovely people. She got the wrong stream, but she's here anyway.
Nice to see you, Wendology.
Hello, legend.
Is that to us? Is that to us?
Richard. Hi, Richard. Jake E, he's here as well. He says hello.
Jake E, he's back. Welcome back, Jake E.
He's funny watching everyone fail at buying the new Sonic screwdriver. Well, not everyone, buddy. Stick around, Jake. We may have a tale to tell about that coming up. Gary's here. Yes, we've done Gary. Oh, yes. Oh, and Michelle. Michelle's there. Michelle Hamilton.
Michelle.
Good to have you back, Michelle. Always great to see you too. And so is back again. Yes. So psychics Beats. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Never says much, but always very, very cool. I think this character probably is, Sarah. What do you think?
I think so too. I like the name. Very cool.
Dance music, big fish, little fish, cardboard box, all that stuff.
I used to do
Yeah.
that.
Used to.
He's got it in your bedroom at night, don't you?
No.
Drinks.
I'll stop doing it when people stop laughing, Matt. That's my that's my maxim to pretty much everything. Hey, says Garbage. Hello, family, says Mark Mill.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
That's all
hello,
right.
Mark.
Big soft article, Mark. Glad to have you back,
We
pal.
like that. We're buying that one.
Engines is here too with evening.
Hello, good evening.
Evening.
And so is Philip King. Wow, our good evenings are getting longer and longer. This is good stuff, though. This
We
is
just
good
did a
stuff.
whole show on everybody saying hello, couldn't we?
Yeah, because they all have the different ways of saying it. It's what I
They
love.
do.
Like, you just get hi, or hello. It's all like,
Because
It
we've got the
reminds
best
me-
people in our
Oh,
chat.
we do.
It's fabulous, but it reminds me of. Do you remember in the scenes at the beginning of every episode? Well, it felt like everyone. It probably wasn't everyone. Hello, Gary Akers, Retro
Hello,
Doc. I'm not saying
Gary.
hello to Gary.
Gary.
But at the start of every episode of Dad's Army, they'd be in the church hall, and Mennering and Wilson would line everybody up, and they'd get them all to salute or say something, and they'd all have a different way of doing it. You know, all the, and that's what I feel our chat is like.
Can I also, I've got to throw in, because I've already got a couple of answers on my TARDIS query, and I think actually they are right.
Okay.
Cybermat Strikes proposes, now I might have this the wrong way around. Cybermat Strikes and Crimpling Doubloon have both come in with an answer each. One being Planet of Evil, one being Pyramids of Mars. And I apologise, I can't remember which of you said which, but
Right.
I think you're probably right. Certainly on Pyramids, unless there is the hat stand in the corner of Pyramids, I think you might be right. Certainly on Pyramids. And I think Planet of Evil could be right as well. So well done, you two. I think
No, I don't. I'd have to be. No, I don't think you can see the hat stand
I don't think
Is
you
it-
can. I think they
because
are
they're just in that
correct.
corner, and Sarah's messing about with the dress, isn't she, and the
Yeah,
scarf? And then
Yeah, and I don't think the
must-
hat
yeah.
stand is there.
No.
So,
Which is the one-
I'm buying those. Thank you, Crimpling, and thank you, Cybermat Strikes. I
very
think
good.
you're right.
Mhm.
What you got? Any thoughts on this one, Matt? Anything in your head?
No, I was going to
Any
say,
other
which is
episodes?
the one that Tom Baker does the speech about walking into to eternity. I'm just wondering if the hat stand is behind.
Oh,
the
that's
hat.
Pyramids of Mars.
That's kind of.
That's what I was saying. I didn't know. I'm pretty sure that the hat stand's not behind him.
We're going to have to go and look this one up.
We are.
It will haunt us forever
Yeah,
unless
somebody
we do.
put it on now.
I
Somebody
will try and
must have
find it. During the show, I'm going to try and find this one out. So just bear with
it. I
me.
know.
Yes, Aidan is clarifying here. We've got one time traveller who's in the future. Aidan's in the past. He's at 3
Yes.
p.m. today. So we are literally straddling the time zones here. It really is something to behold. Wicca is cool, says Richard Brooks. Well, Emmanuelle, she was very fond of Wicca. Do you remember? I always wondered, because she always wore so very, very little. She must have always had some of those marks on the back of her legs and on her bum and stuff, hasn't she? With sitting in those chairs for film after film after film. And we've
I've
got
got
a
to say
question.
too. By the way, yes, Kelly, I was going to say that. I need to get this clear. They're Romanas, okay? They're not Barbies.
okay.
They're Romanas.
Will you say
Romana
this
1,
with a closer
Romana
look?
2,
Yeah.
okay?
Oh,
Romana
yeah.
1, Romana 2.
Oh,
okay, not
very
Barbie.
nice.
I do not buy Barbies. Let's
Women
be clear.
crawling all over him as always
They're
here.
too tempting.
And more surprises coming up on the show, I think. Keep watching and keep commenting. And particularly if you are at Comic Con, we'd love to know what you found out too, what you've heard. There's no stopping us on this show. We've got news, views, nostalgia, more of this kind of banter, and exclusive breaking content as always. It wouldn't be the same without you. So bring us your comments here live, your rants, your raves, and your takes on everything as Type 40 Live continues for another week. Lots to get into. I think we should get started. We should get started right now, shouldn't we? With one of these. Should we? Now brace yourselves. Every time I play this, people say it's scary. I don't know what they mean. Tell you what is scary, the fact that time seems to go by so quickly, and filming has just wrapped on series 14 of Doctor Who, and our new old showrunner, he's confirmed the wrap with this picture up on Instagram there. I don't know who any of these people are, but they look like they've been working hard behind the scenes at any rate. There's a guy in high vis and some bloke with a big ginger beard there, good stuff. So there they all are. That looks like some of the crew behind all new Doctor Who. They started filming this in December, believe it or not, Sarah, and throughout the intervening 7-8 months. So this is the 8 episodes that make up Series 14, and they've hit up Swansea, Newport, Bristol, Cardiff, and how could we forget Barry Island? They've been everywhere. But on July the 14th, 2023, filming has wrapped on this season that's going to star Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson as the Doctor and Ruby. So knowing that it's all in the can, obviously they're going into a period of post-production now, which is probably going to take several months. But it is good, if maybe somewhat nerve-wracking, to know that another series is banked. We're going to get to see at some point. It exists. Doctor Who is, for all intents and purposes, back. We've just got to wait to see it.
It's been so long coming, and now it does finally feels real, and it's exciting and it's nerve-wracking. But yeah, I mean, lovely photo. I mean, Russell still looks happy. He's still smiling. That's always a good sign. But yeah, it's all down to the post now, and it will be interesting to see if is history going to repeat itself, and they're still working right up to the last minute. Like I remember in past seasons when it was like literally the week before, sometimes days before, they were really working to the bone. But yeah, just bring it on. We just want to see it now. We're fed up of waiting. Let's just see the goods and see what we can
it's really odd because I just feel completely indifferent to it. Not that don't get me wrong. I want to clarify. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just nothing, to be honest. I feel literally zero, nothing, because I think I just feel so at the moment detached and disengaged with new Who. I'm still, don't get me wrong, I still love Who. So it's not that I'm sitting here being grumpy and saying, I'm not looking forward to it. It's not that. It's just I feel nothing because simply I think I've just over the past few years I've just disengaged with current new Who. And as I've always said,
well, to be fair, Simon, the viewing public have as well. You're far from alone.
I think you're right. And as I say, it isn't. I can't be clear enough about this. It's not that I'm sitting here being grumpy and resentful and not looking forward to it at all. It's just, it's like it just means nothing to me now. I guess I should be excited that they've wrapped on it, but I just feel nothing.
See, if I may, I'm not going to try and speak for you, Simon, but knowing you the way that I do, and one of the things that I find most interesting about you, and I've often wondered if you've always been this way, or is it because you've worked in television? But you are completely immune to all form of hype, aren't you? You don't seem to resent it in any way, but it doesn't touch you either, does it? So when we get all this big talk, whether it's Russell laying on thick about the latest guest star, all this promise of the Who-universe, and all this talk of big plans to come, it's not that it passes you by, it's just you are ultra mega pragmatic about it, aren't you? And it's you will be judge it on what's on screen, and that's that.
Yes, totally, 100%. And no, I'm not sort of negative about it, but it does, and I'm not resentful about it. No, but I do. It begins to put my back up when I am constantly bombarded by rhetoric and by hype. And we live in a world these days where everything is hyped up to the max. I mean, these days, if you watch commercial television, for example, and you see a television advert, and you'll get I don't know, something like it's a bottle of chilled coffee, and it's just going to transform your life. It's going to be the most exciting thing you ever drink, and your entire world. Look, it's just an iced coffee. Yeah. Okay, that's all it is, or it's an air freshener. Okay, it's not going to bring a woodland into your house. It's just an air freshener. So I think we live in this world of just overhype, and so I just literally disconnect from it, switch it off. And I think, to be honest, most people do don't they? Aren't you all the same? Don't you
Well, I think
aren't you numb to
when
it?
I feel the tingles, I'm a sucker for this sort of thing. I got to be honest. But usually, like with most of you guys, I'll exchange messages with you a couple of times a week. Like Charlotte, you're a prime example, aren't you? You'll say to me, "Have you seen this? Have you seen that?"
Yeah.
But are you swept up in hype, or do you think you've got it in check? Where are you somewhere between Simon's position as being like steely pragmatic and mine as being sort of shiny thing? Where do you? Okay, I'm not quite that bad. For the purposes of this conversation, I will be.
I think I'm in the middle a lot. I think especially with Who right now, because I am excited because it's a new Doctor. We've got this new actor in. We've got different energy, I'm hoping, coming in. That's what's got me excited. But I think they've been too sort of coy with showing us a bit of what they've made. I think the marketing's been very slow. I think the marketing really needed to be more in your face, if I'm being honest. And I just think because of that, I'm just a bit more, I'm waiting for them to properly start to try and tempt me. That's sort of where I'm at.
Because it's safe to say that you were as captured as I was. And Sarah, I think you probably were too, weren't you? But I think both of you and myself, we were like hanging on to this, and I was prepared to to keep up, but the apathy and the lack of anything really tangible has sort of peeled me away finger by finger. And
I think it's the way they've been doing it, because for me, casting announcements rarely get me excited unless it's a really incredible casting. So the fact that their tactic so far has been put a picture up of some actor or actress, tell me they're a character in Doctor Who, don't tell me who they're playing, so I can't then try and connect or get excited. And just for months and months and months between silence and then, like we've all said, some disastrous ideas that they've put out. And I just think I can remember from my memories of that first 2005 run, and even when Doctor Who wasn't on the telly, it felt alive. It felt like it was still had a presence, even in the early days before it got to that sort of Tennant rock star sort of phase it had. And now it just feels like it goes silent. And even now, that's why I'm so happy we're starting to get it a bit this week. But it's still, I'm just feeling like it's summer. It shouldn't be feeling like it's just starting now. So that's my issue. I think I'm in the middle a bit with Who.
I think it's generally quite divided in the live chat too. I'm actually having a problem reading comments here in the studio, but I've got it up on another device. It's gone for you as well, has it, Matt? But I've got a comment here from Jackety, who says, I'm at the point now where I am well and truly excited for the 60th. Beyond that, well, time will tell. Jack Thursby says, my excitement is for Classic Who has grown over the last couple of years tenfold. It's had that strange effect, hasn't it? And Glenn Piper says, it's been so long since we've had Doctor Who. I think the excitement might kick in a week before the show starts. Hard to be excited right now when we're still months away. And I think that's more than fair too.
Well, this is the thing, Dan. It's because it hasn't been on for so long. We're out of the habit. Yes. And not just the fans, the ordinary viewing public, even TV. I mean, TV's moved on so fast. TV habits have changed, and like Charlotte's saying, even when it wasn't on, there was still a presence. There was something going on. And it just feels like it's just been so quiet.
I think you're right, Sarah. I think even when it wasn't on air, it just felt like it was there. Doctor Who, since 2005, it did tail off, to be honest, in the Peter Capaldi years, but up until that point, certainly during Matt Smith, David Tennant, it felt ever present. If it wasn't on screen, we were aware Doctor Who was part of the world. And it just feels like it's checked out for a while. It feels like it's gone off on holiday, and it's not in the room anymore. So it's literally out of sight is out of mind, I think, for the people,
I was going to say it feels so distant still. I think that's, if I was to try and phase it for me right now, it feels so distant, even though we have got it technically coming. We're guessing November-ish time. We're all guessing that, which is really, in the long scheme of things, isn't that many months away. But it still feels like it's a year away to me
And
at this point.
I think we're all hoping that this sort of drought spell is going to be over. And we're going to get some sort of regularity, and we're going to get whipped up by something. And Doctor Who will be an annual event again, as it used to be. And it would be, it's Doctor Who season, and we'd all get that sort of feeling, Sarah, of being swept up in it. The way that people do about major sporting engagements and other sort of cultural festivities too, that people look forward to in the calendar. They ring it off and say, for 2 weeks the World Cup's on, or for 2 weeks Wimbledon's on. And speaking of which, Simon, I know you're a big fan of Wimbledon, aren't you? Have you enjoyed it this year? I know it's just wrapped up, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I've thoroughly enjoyed it this year. The final in particular, I just thought was absolutely stunning. Just one of the best Wimbledon matches, finals I have ever seen. I just thought it was breathtaking. Nearly 5 hours of just absolutely first class tennis. I was just absolutely riveted. And I did cheer. I have to be honest. I did cheer when Alcaraz won. I was willing him on. I always will the underdog on. I always want the underdog to win. And it's just, did anybody else watch the final? Am I the only one?
Hang on a minute. I'm a proper geek. I don't do sports, Simon.
My mum's a massive tennis fan, so it was on the telly and I watched a bit of it. And I will say, as somebody who's know nothing about sport, Alcatraz, I probably said his name wrong there.
It's Alcaraz. There's no T in it.
Right, Alcaraz. Yeah. He's got a bit of a sparkle in his eye. He's got a bit of like boyish charm about him, so I quite like that.
He's very, very likable. He's got a really nice personality, and so I think the best person won, and the best tennis player, in all honesty, on Sunday won.
So did you have
just to be clear, everybody,
did you have strawberries and cream, Simon? Did you?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm very lucky in that I've been to Wimbledon a couple of times, and I've always had the strawberries and cream there. It's just one of the best experiences of my life. And I'm not handing in my geek card just yet. Don't worry, folks. Wimbledon is the only sport I'm actually remotely interested in. I'm not even interested in tennis. It's Wimbledon. There's just something so, and you'll forgive me, there's something so English about Wimbledon. And I do mean English as opposed to British. I'm sorry, no disrespect to anybody, but it is just quintessentially English. And I just love it. So
I think people in the live chat might be wondering why I've brought up Wimbledon. It's because, yes, as a geek, I was wondering who was there from the Whoniverse, who had shown up this time. And I'm happy to say that we weren't disappointed. And the Doctor was there. Ncuti Gatwa was there in a very nice suit there, finished off with a blue polka dot handkerchief, and there's a pink tie. I think this is a fabulous look. It's kind of suit that David Tennant would wear.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that.
It is a fabulous look, fantastic look. I'm often very, very critical of Ncuti's outfits, but that's how to wear clothes.
So there he was.
That colour suits him. I want his Doctor to wear something of that colour.
I agree.
He was there for the finals.
Always the colour I wanted to see him in as the Doctor. I just always thought that a pale colour like that would just work so beautifully, and it does.
He was there for the final weekend over Saturday and Sunday. That's what he was wearing on Saturday, bless him. Say a cracking suit. He looks the business in that. Yeah. And on Sunday, he was looking a little different. He was, I think it's the same suit jacket, but he accessorized there with a matching kilt and the socks that go with it as well. Now, I wasn't sure it was a proper kilt unless there's a sporran dangling from the groinal area.
Thought, yeah.
But
I don't want to see sporran, no.
I think the more modern ones don't have them, from what I've seen before. I think that's more like modernish.
Yeah,
more sleek.
You're correct.
It's only a purse, isn't it? That's where they keep all their money, isn't it?
Well, also, I think, and if we've got any Scots in the chat, I'm sure you'll put me right on this, but I have a feeling that sporrans are purely really that Scottish traditional wear, whereas kilts are they are part of everyday fashion. Not for many people, but they are part of everyday fashion, and so you wouldn't wear a sporran unless you were actually Scottish. I'm trying to think of another example, and I can't.
Well, they have to keep their money in it, don't they? That's what it is? It's a purse.
And their packet of fags, that's what it is.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, where do they keep the money? You know,
I genuinely didn't know what to think about this photo when I sort of saw the photo. I fear that he does look faintly ridiculous, if not quite a lot ridiculous.
I think
But
it's the tie as well, Simon.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
School
Like,
tie.
somehow
Yeah,
just
it
doesn't
looked
work.
like school
And I
uniform.
struggled. Well, I struggle with myself on this one because, as everybody knows, I'm a massive Bowie fan, and Bowie famously wore a dress in the 60s. And so I have to sort of temper my feelings against the fact that I love Bowie in a dress. So why do I not like Shooty in a kilt? I don't know. I can't help it. It just doesn't look right somehow. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, and I probably don't want to put my finger on it.
Anybody can
I agree.
follow that up.
I don't know. I mean, what's anybody else think?
Well, my first thought, I'll say, I thought he was wearing a skirt.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
my first thought.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
once I looked at it more,
It's
obviously
missing the tartan, isn't it?
well, that's the thing.
I've
Like the
always thought they've all
tartan
been
is the more traditional thing as well. Like
Yes,
what I mean,
yes.
kilts have really changed a lot.
Yes.
So once I looked into it more, like with the socks and the boots he's wearing, I was like, it's a kilt. And he's obviously, we know he's Scottish. We know he's got that sort of Scottish pride about him. So I was like, it makes sense. He's wearing a kilt.
I didn't know he had Scottish in him. That's me being completely behind the times. Is he Scottish?
Well, he
was raised in Scotland.
He grew up
Okay.
in Scotland.
Okay. Okay.
That's why sometimes when he speaks, you will hear a tiny bit of Scottish come through.
It does come through it.
I sometimes wonder, don't you just think that there is an element with Shooty of sort of just showboating? He just, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with this. It's not a criticism at all. It's a kind of a thought that maybe he just likes to be controversial. He likes to raise eyebrows. He likes to be very, very
He likes to be the centre of attention. That's for sure.
and fair enough. In that respect, there's nothing wrong with that. But looking at this, I just think he would look stunning. If he was in the suit with the tie, he would look cracking. But in the kilt, it just looks like he's just trying to be centre of attention. As you say, Matt.
Woodhouse is right. There is something about the socks that don't look. They look like sport
they're odd.
socks.
Yeah,
They're odd.
Yeah, I think the thing is with the because the whole point of fashion kilts is they're not generally tartan. You get that they're often fetish wear. It's often fetish wear. So you'll have leather or rubber.
Yeah, I've
kilts
seen those. I've seen rock stars
fetish
wearing
wear.
those and all sorts of different patterns and everything. Look, this outfit has definitely raised some eyebrows in the live chat, but it's a skirt. It's not a kilt. A few people are straight in with
I can
that.
see why you'd say that. It does look like
I was the same. I thought it was because it didn't have tartan on the sporran. I thought it looks like.
But you do see rock stars and things wearing kilts on stage, just as you say, Simon, with all manner of patterns and made of all manner of things. And whilst we do know, Shooty is not a stranger to a bit of cross-dressing. We all know that. But in this instance, I think he is trying to bring some of the Scott to Wimbledon.
Oh, yes.
It's that simple.
Well,
Look, as long as he doesn't go walking around on top of vents, it's fine.
Yeah, go on, call the fashion police. They've got him again.
No Marilyn Monroe, please.
I think my feeling is I'm not personally against it. As I say, I do think he looks slightly ridiculous. But if you want to, I absolutely, you go for it, Shooty. I'm who cares what we think? If you like it, I would always say be individual, wear what you want to wear. It doesn't matter if you look ridiculous. You can't be surprised when people then have an opinion on it. But in many ways, I think that's what he wants. He wants people to have an opinion. Yeah. So it's all good as far as I'm concerned.
We've got a comment here from Cybermat Strikes who said, I just didn't recognise Shooty with his shirt on, which I think is a fair enough comment. If you think that was weird, then earlier on in the month he was wearing this. Yet another fashion I don't want to say disaster. A fashion statement, Matt. Have you seen this one? The Doctor, he went furry,
he looks like a Chinese fortune cookie.
He looks like a vervoid.
I was going to say he looks like an alien from Doctor Who Classic here, doesn't it?
This is becoming very much the what the hell is Shooty Gatwa wearing this week? Retro.Gary Akers asks, why aren't his socks matching? Well, this is why I'm convinced it's a kilt, because those socks are definitely they're Scott's pattern,
Yes,
aren't
they
they?
are.
That's what gives it away, really. The pleating and the fact the socks are banded in the way that they are. That's what gives it away as a Scottish thing. But this look with the orange sort of furry big coat here. He sported this for his spread with Rolling Stone magazine last week. Look at those trainers.
Do you remember that advert from Soft Mints from Mr. Soft?
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I say, if you want to wear it, absolutely, you go for it. But as long as he's happy that he looks like an utter, well, I can't use the words that I would use. Somebody, Raymond Williams says in the chat, Bowie always looked cool. Shooty
wouldn't wear
in my
that.
opinion, he doesn't look cool. He just looks ridiculous. But if he likes it.
And also, I'd love to know what the direction was for that swan on the right. How could you tell somebody to make that position?
Well, he's clearly directing the shoot, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what
Do we
he
know
wants
how
to do.
tall Shooty is?
He's 5'10", isn't he? 5'10".
Okay, he's my height. Okay.
Yeah. And I love those big chunky trainers, but the trousers with the crease down them. I mean, this is absolutely hilarious. And I did think, as soon as I saw this, I thought, I know one guy would approve because he always dressed for the occasion as well.
Yeah.
He'd definitely be down for a bit of that. And yeah, it's all for Rolling Stone magazine.
It's like
Shooty
he's wearing
Gatwa
a
was
couch.
the cover star. I think. Oh God, we must come across as the biggest bunch of Philistines going.
I know.
All the
Sorry,
high-fashion
sofa, not
experts,
couch.
Yeah, but you've got to laugh. I mean,
all the
Well, you have
high-fashion
to laugh,
experts
you
who are
have
going to
And
be
as I
watching
say,
in the
I
live chat
genuinely
here.
think- I genuinely think that's what Shooty wants us to do. I really do. I think he wants us to. He just wants to be controversial. He doesn't care whether we laugh. He just wants to get a reaction out of people. And as I say, in that respect, I give him a thumbs up. Good on you. But
I'd love to see this in Doctor Who magazine as an advert, and underneath it says "powered by carrot juice."
What is this about orange, Sarah?
I was
He's
thinking
really-
that, yeah.
I think it's just the fact that the colour is very much in. I think it's in. We've got a comment here from Glenn Piper in the chat, which I think we've been over this several times, but he asks, does anyone strongly believe that Shooty was chosen as the Doctor because of political things that are going on now? I can't count the amount of times that we've talked about this, and we've all got various different feelings about it. But the way I look at it is this is an actor. He is an actor of some profile and note, and he does seem like somebody who wasn't a household name despite having a large following. The time was probably right for somebody like him. So I personally don't think that he was chosen for any political reason. But on the other side of the coin from that, I think we were all aware. I don't want to speak for everybody, but in summary, Glenn, if you weren't around when we talked about these things, the way that we generally felt was that I don't think any of us were surprised, or we'd have been more surprised if they hadn't chosen a young, good-looking black guy to front this show going forward. None of us believed they would go with a white actor, if you follow me. Which you could say that's a political editorial thing from within the BBC at the moment, and we're assured that people of other ethnicities did audition. We've been assured that, and I certainly haven't heard anything from my sources to the contrary. But I believe this man could be the right man in the right role at the right time. Could, but I've never seen him act, so I can't say. But if you want to hit up the playlist for some of our earlier shows, we talk about that at some length there. And we're going to come back to this Rolling Stone piece a little later on because there's some more to see. So, well, the cover was hilarious and ridiculous, but I'm happy to say that what was inside wasn't anywhere near as bad, and there was a lot of good things to see in there. Okay. There were other things going on at Wimbledon as well. We had representation in the form of Jenna Coleman. She was at Wimbledon, absolutely stunning.
That's a class act, isn't it?
Yeah.
She always looks good, Jenna.
Yeah, so she didn't let the side down at all, and nothing furry going on there with Jenna. And I wonder if there's any furriness or anything else there probably is concerning Doctor Who going on at San Diego Comic-Con. That's just kicked off a few hours ago, and Doctor Who is present. Is being represented, and we've got some dribblings. Oh God, that sounds awful. Drizzlings. I'll make it drizzlings of all of that coming up later on in the show too. So stick around for that, particularly if you're actually at Comic-Con. You want to dial in and let us know what you think of it all. We'd love to know the inside scoop on San Diego Comic-Con. And while you're here, please like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. There's the live streams like this, and there's the podcast too. So we've just dropped the latest episode of Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast, our 5th birthday edition. That's myself and the brilliant Kyle Wagner, he's sort of the cyber controller of the Fandom Podcast Network and co-creator of Type 40. I connected with Kyle for a good old catch-up about the state of Doctor Who in 2023. And we go over it all there, and he gives me his instincts about Comic-Con and about recent Doctor Who castings. And yeah, it's a good, long conversation between me and my old mate. We get stuck into a lot of the topics that you're all talking about out there in the live chat, come to think of it, as well as all the other episodes, reviews, previews, geek outs, and deep dives from other editions of Type 40, available not just on this channel, on the Type 40 channel, in video form, but we're across all major podcatchers with that too. And why do we do it? We do it for the love of Who. Any year, let alone in this 60th anniversary year. So yeah, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell so you don't miss out on any of that good stuff, including our recent review, Simon, of Death to the Daleks. The video of that dropped a couple of days ago. It was a pair of us with Stephen Noonan. People do seem to have loved it.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because Death to the Daleks is not the first story you think of when it comes to the Third Doctor that you're going to review. And so it was a lot of fun talking about something that is one of the lesser known and lesser talked about Pertwee stories. And it was a lot of fun. Go and watch it. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's coming to the podcast as well in due course. Yes, so let us know what you think about all of that. What do you think about the stars of Doctor Who? Only 2 of them at Wimbledon this time. I don't think Matt Smith was there, which is quite strange. He's a big tennis fan, so he must be off doing something else, Sarah. Who knows what he's doing? Maybe it could be some covert filming for the 60th anniversary. Some pickups. Yeah, we hope. Let us know what you think he's doing by all means. Let us know what you think of Shooty in his furry outfit there and all the other stuff that we've been rambling on about Simon's immunity to hype. Let us know how immune you are on a scale of 1 to 10. We're all ears here at Type 40 Live. So yeah, keep it all coming. Keep it coming.
Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Click the buttons. Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, last time we were here, we got together and we were reeling from an announcement just a few hours before that season 20 from 1983, a whole season of Doctor Who that was a massive event in so many of our lives, Simon, that was going to join the line of prestige Blu-ray box sets that make up the collection on Blu-ray. And as soon as this was announced, I thought of you, mate. I wondered how you'd reacted to this.
I wonder why.
This wasn't any great surprise, was it, that this was coming? It was the worst kept secret of them all, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know quite what it was. Was it just that we all sort of heard the rumours? But were those rumours only there because it seemed blindingly obvious that, of course, they would release season 20 in the 60th anniversary year? It just seemed absolutely obvious to, I think, everybody that it would come out.
Well, also, Janet Fielding has been talking about, you won't have to wait too long. Mark Strickson has said multiple times to many people at conventions that they've been filming extras for it. So the fact that we knew it'd been coming for so long, obviously, as time went on, the likelihood, the odds increased that this was going to be next.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, it just made absolute sense to release it in the 60th year. But I know that they had problems, didn't they? Because it wasn't the problems with Mark Strickson coming over from Australia and trying to get him over to record the extras and things. And Mark Strickson is brilliant value in the extras, and so it would have been a real shame if we hadn't, if they'd not waited. If that's what had to happen. So 9 discs, Dan. 9 discs. That's the biggest box set so far, isn't it?
It is by far the biggest one so far. Both the number of discs and the amount of stuff that's on them. I mean, we've tried to get through some of it on the last edition of the show, and I think we barely scratched the surface. There's so many PDFs and extras, old extras and brand new extras. This really is something special. I think it's going to make a lot of people's Christmases, although they haven't published an official release date yet. But that's no great surprise either, is it, Simon? They've been reluctant to do that this last year or so, haven't they?
Yeah. They've stopped announcing release dates, which I do think is absolutely the right thing to do, because people were just getting really, really fed up of them constantly being delayed. So they've learned their lesson there. Quite right too. Why? It doesn't matter. We know it's coming out. I don't need a date. It's fine. It'll be out when it's out, and all's good.
And the other thing is, they know they're going to get the money. They know they've got the fans, so they don't need to sort of have that uncertainty now.
No, exactly.
People just like the anticipation, don't they, of knowing you're going to add something else to your collection. You make space on your shelf and slide it into position. It is like the most lavish TV part work collection you could possibly imagine. But you say you don't need a date. What about if I told you I'd got a date?
Really?
Oh, go on. I want the date now.
Immediately changed. Yeah, because I do have a date for this. Now, the BBC Studios, they haven't published a date yet. So obviously this isn't supposed to be out there, and it is subject to change. But some international retailers are listing this for release. We have a release date. So if it's coming to one territory, it's probably coming to them all at the same time. We've got Monday, September the 18th as the date here on the season 20 box set. And that's really surprised me, Sarah, because I imagined that this would come out either to mark the anniversary, the 40th anniversary, so it would be in mid to late November, or they would literally put it out as a big old Christmas present for us geeks. Going to get it on earlier.
That was exactly my thought process as well, Dan. I thought, well, surely it's going to be November. But yeah, what a pleasant surprise. I hope it doesn't change.
Yeah.
So you wonder in that case, because I would have just assumed this would be released in November. It makes absolute sense for this to be released in November. So you just wonder, is there another box set, let's say season 1, that might be being thought of for November release?
Or I've just had this thought: do they not want the classic box set to compete with the television specials?
Oh,
do they not want, when it
I
comes to like talking in the fan base? Because these get a lot of coverage. Fans love them. They dissect them. They go over all those extras. Are they thinking, let's give it its own window so that it can fully be in its own sort of space, and not detract from the TV specials? Yeah. But I think I think, like I said, I think they would want to give this its own sort of, like I said, that space, that time to be the thing in the limelight.
Charlotte, I think you hit the nail on the head. I hadn't thought of that. I think you're absolutely right. What do you think, Matt? Because obviously we spoke about this again last week, didn't we? Things are getting sorted out in the Southern Hemisphere as regards these releases, aren't they? But I know that you haven't got it yet.
Yeah, no. Well, look, because I mean, I still cannot order season 20 at all. Not on eBay, not on just even a pre-order. Can't do it. So whether or not there's a lockout for us guys, I don't know. We've had to wait 5 months for the John Pertwee season 9 to come out, which was absolutely killer. I couldn't wait. I had to get the UK version. But, you know, this is one I really, really want. So, it's like, I have to wait now, you know.
We have some comments here in the live chat, and people are very, very excited about this and that release date of Monday, September the 18th that we've just put out there. This is listed on some international retailers. There's a Spanish website that has it listed and a German one. So this isn't just one place. It's turning up all across the continent, and I think there's a Russian website that lists them too. But yeah, it is turning up. Obviously, they must have got the date from somewhere. but this is 2 months earlier. Dates do change, so it's not set in stone. But the intention is clearly to release this sooner rather than later. And I suspect, Charlotte, you've hit the nail on the head there. I think there'll be something else. There'll be like a mega trilogy box set with heaven knows what else. People in the live chat are asking here. Several people are saying this. What are you more excited about, season 20 on Blu-ray or the 60th anniversary? Now, for me,
this is what I'm thinking.
For me, it's the 60th anniversary. I'm not going to be churlish about it. I've seen this stuff hundreds of times. I love the old stuff, but I am very, very excited about the anniversary. But I don't think there's a wrong answer to this. I don't.
I'm definitely. I think everybody's going to know what my answer is, and of course, it's the 20th. If I could only have one, which would I have? Of course, it would be the season 20 box set. Of course, it would. I happily sacrifice those anniversary specials for season 20. Thank you very much. I'm happy with that.
See, I'm 50-50, and I didn't think I would be like, because I've been so like, David and Catherine, but I love the Five Doctors. I really do, and yeah.
I think the thing is, for me personally, that there was never a more special time than the 20th anniversary year, because unlike the 60th year, which we kind of have commented in the past, that we feel a little bit like it's almost passing by. We're well over halfway through the year now, and we still doesn't feel like a celebratory year, whereas the 20th anniversary year did feel like a celebratory year. It started undoubtedly with the Longleat celebration at the beginning of April, and it just seemed to grow momentum from there. We were constantly being told in the magazine about the 20th anniversary special coming up, the Five Doctors, and we were constantly being reminded that it was the 20th anniversary. So Doctor Who never felt better than in the 20th anniversary year. And so that, for me, it's just pure nostalgia to relive that.
I've got a question here. A comment from Cybermat Strikes, who said they've released season 20 to take the heat off Doomsday. Season 20 was coming anyway, but I think that's an amusing notion too. Doomsday, of course, has totally sank without a trace. And Vanessa's asking about this coming out in the States as well. I believe that's the case, but I'm not quite sure how it is in the States. I think generally it's around the same time. Carol Jude says, don't forget, we also get a new awesome mobile game this year. Hey, Carol, if you play those games, great. They totally pass me by. They seem to come out at a rate of knots, those games. I get them all mixed up. But if people do enjoy playing them, then I'm made up for any of you who get something out of those. People's imaginations have been set alight by this season 20 box set, Simon, and this being the Doctor Who community, not only were they asking right away, okay, so which season will be next in the collection? People are never 100% happy, but people have been getting very creative as well, because obviously we're going to get that new edition of the Five Doctors with the brand new special effects, and people are adding things already. And so I thought this was real at first, but I think it might not be. So we've got, this is the moment where Sarah takes a tumble down that very slight incline, and so somebody up on Twitter, I haven't got a name for this, but has put this out there that we may get an explanation as to why Sarah does seem to fall over completely unprovoked and down that slight incline there in the first 25 minutes or so of the Five Doctors. So that may get answered after all. I don't know the origins of this screenshot, whether it's a fan or whether it is a screen from the 40th anniversary edition. I suppose we'll find out come September with a bit of luck.
I must be honest, when I saw the trailer for the season 20 box set, and they showed the 40th anniversary version of the Five Doctors, and the time scoop, which was just in that shot that you just had up there, Dan, you can see the new time scoop that has been done in the 40th anniversary, and my heart just sinks, to be honest, because I still think they messed it up in the extended version, where they turned it into a ghastly CGI ice cream
Mr.
cone
Whippy.
thing. Mr. Whippy. And in this one, they've turned it into some sort of, I don't know what it is, a sort of 5 or 6-sided thing. And I'm just, oh, come on, guys! The original design for the time scoop was just perfect. It was just a block. It was a monolith. It reminded me of 2001 as a kid, and it was just absolutely perfect. So why not just do a good CGI rendition of the original
Of the
Time
monolith.
Scoop, which was just that beautiful. Is it a rhomboid? I'm trying to think what the shape is. I think it might be a rhomboid. Anyway, the one that was on
I
the
don't
front
know.
cover of the Radio Times. Why
Yeah.
not just do that? It was good. It was perfect. It was timeless. It was classic.
I don't think the new CGI fits the old
I agree.
style Doctor Who. I
Well,
don't.
we'll
think
find
it
out.
doesn't.
We'll find out
Like
hopefully
chalk and
in mid-September, everybody, how we're going to receive all of this, whether we're swept away by it all. But I agree with you. So much fan art features elements like that. It seems strange to change it, but change it they have, and we're going to get a brand new version of the 5 Doctors come mid-September with a bit of luck. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. And that wasn't the only announcement. So we've got this announcement this week. So that's the classic stuff taken care of. But we have news for New Who too. So this is a new set that's coming out. At the moment, this is only listed for North America. So Vanessa and everybody else in the States, you may be aware of this. But this is a colossal Blu-ray set of all of New Doctor Who. That's been announced this week. Complete New Doctor Who Blu-ray set, series 1 to 13. It gets released this autumn with brand new extras that are going to feature David Tennant and Russell T Davies. But and you think, okay, whatever they've got them to record or shoot, it'll probably only be 5 or 10 minute bits and bobs here and there. But what's getting people really excited, Charlotte, is the fact that they've gone back for this set expressly for Blu-ray, and they've newly remastered all of series 1 through to 4. So the original Russell T Davies should be looking better than ever for this monster box set. No UK release date yet. But is this the kind of thing that you think there'll be much of a market for? Does everybody have them already?
No, I think it depends how much extras, because especially with how much New Who has been on DVD at this point and how much people bought it. I think if this is like a prestige item, and it almost sounds to me that they have looked at what works with the classic box sets, and they're trying to almost do it for New Who. And I think in the 60th year, that's a good idea, if I'm being honest. I think if you can have it in one set, one complete everything, so you don't have to go through your multiple different DVDs. And it makes sense. And like I said, it almost sounds like they're taking a leaf out of the classic book and doing it to New Who. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't get a UK release with I think people would definitely buy this. Sarah, what do you think?
I think so. And well, anything with Tennant sells anyway. So extra Tennant's always a good thing. But yeah, can you own Doctor Who too many times? I just don't think you can. I am really tempted, because I was just thinking, I've already got it on Blu-ray, but I ought to have them first 4 seasons, remastered and everything.
Because they have been out before in Blu-ray steelbooks. I didn't buy them because I've spoken, well, Simon and we interviewed a couple of people who work on the Blu-ray collection. They do intend on releasing new Doctor Who as part of the collection on Blu-ray as well. So I imagined that they'd wait for that. But this is coming. We've got some comments here in the live chat. Jackety asks, is there someone missing on that image, Dan? I'm missing? I've not that I can think of. I've taken it with BBC Studios, mate.
Everybody who's a doctor is there. So.
K9's missing.
And Vanessa says, damn it, I can't buy it with her in it. No idea who she might mean. So yeah, this is the blurb for this. So it is official. We've got all the info. It says celebrate the Doctor Who legacy with the limited edition complete New Who years Blu-ray collector set. There's only 6,000 of these available, and it brings all 13 seasons and specials, all remastered seasons with exclusive content from Russell T Davies and David Tennant. You get a numbered certificate of authenticity and an exclusive 60th anniversary figure set to everybody. So you get these from Titan. These little sort of munchkin doctors, Matt. Matt, you are one for a pop vinyl, aren't you? This doesn't like your fire at all.
Though. They look like emojis.
They look like they're about to come alive.
To be honest,
look like they're about to come alive and kill you in the night if you left one more to the toilet.
That last one would, yeah.
There's a horrible bit of making in that image, isn't there?
Talking of Mr. Whippy, God, Matt's hair.
Oh know, yeah.
Ooh.
Nice.
It's only missing the pair of eyes on the top for that emoji, isn't it?
That
Oh dear, oh
forehead, I
dear.
tell you.
God.
Oh, yeah. So if that's not an incentive, those Titan figures, then what more do you want? So the blurb says it's coming for holiday 2023. It's limited to just 6,000 copies, 13 complete seasons, and it states, yes, specifically that series 1 to 4 they've been newly remastered for Blu-ray. You get that exclusive content, a certificate of authenticity. I ask you now, Sarah, you've got the big jumbo box of Peter Capaldi, haven't you? It's in a prestige set, sort of. It's
It is,
rectangular.
yeah, because it never came here. It was only released in America, and I had a job trying to get hold of it and then making sure my Blu-ray player can actually play it. But yeah, it is gorgeous though. The artwork, so it will be a beautiful item, and it will be worth the money. So yeah, I do hope it does come over here. We'll see. But mine didn't come with a certificate though.
No.
I don't know why we'd. Yeah.
Got a comment here from Psychic Beats, who, regarding the vinyl figures that you get with this set, says that he has the exact David Tennant pop figure that my mum got me randomly from a car boot sale for £2, and it's exactly the same.
They're ugly.
Peter Harrington asks, has Peter Capaldi got a cape on? I don't think he has. It's just a certain kind of coat. Crimpling the balloon.
I think it's the lining. It's because sometimes he would have like coloured lining, wouldn't he? In his clothes.
Yeah. Some people like this stuff, others don't. I don't think this is going to be a clincher for anybody as to whether they buy it or not. But the remastered series 1 to 4, I can see that is a temptation for anybody. This is quite rich though. It comes in at the price of this is $174.98. So it's a bit of a price tag. But I suppose
How
it
much?
is $174.98.
Is that American?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an American release. So that would be about 130 quid, 140 pounds.
$300 Australian.
So
Wow.
it is. I mean, that's a lot of money, but it is 13. It is 13 seasons of something. So if you haven't got them, then I suppose it's probably worth it. There's speculation that this may have arrived on this format because HBO Max had remastered these episodes when they had the rights to show them. So it could be those, but it does state newly remastered, and the HBO Max deal was 2 years ago. So I don't know.
We get to see in proper like today's graphics how Mickey would look being eaten by that bin.
I know. Well,
Scaled. Yeah.
I've got to buy it now.
Yeah, this is out. This is out for the anniversary. It's released on November the 14th,
Looks more realistic than the
2023.
last Doctor.
And you get 10% off that big price tag, just 10% off if you sign up to the BBC Shop newsletter. I'll pop the link in the description to the video and the show notes to the podcast for anybody who fancies getting that for someone as a Christmas present, or maybe sending that link along as a hint to a loved one. I don't know. So yeah, could Disney have paid for these brand new remasters? That's another thing. It's going to a new streaming platform home, and they've got the old stuff coming eventually. Maybe they're the ones who've put their hands in their pockets for this. And I do wonder, is it finally going to include any of the extras that haven't been on other releases, such as minisodes and TARDISodes and things like that?
Oh,
but above all else,
full confidentials would be fantastic.
all that stuff would be great. But above all else, I think we'd all like to see things like, the confidentials and far, far more features. But, I'd rather wait for the individual releases myself. So I can't see me buying this, but I like the fact that new editions are gonna be out there. Let us know what you think of it all in the live chat. We are having technical problems here at the moment, so we can't actually read your comments here in the studio the way we usually can, but we've got them up on various other devices as well, so it may be a little slower than usual. Please keep the comments coming anyway, though, by all means. And we've got somebody about to beam in. Just beam in? That's the wrong show. He's about to materialise. He's about to materialise right now, just at time for his highlight of the show, usually. I'm happy to say that he's made it here. It's Ian David Tears.
Oh, wait a moment. It's in the diary. Right,
You just want to make a big entrance, don't you? That's all it is.
I apologise for being late. Sorry. Couldn't be helped.
It's good to have you here, Matt. How are you? Matt? God, I'm getting confused. It's good to have you.
The last hour.
It's good to have you here, mate. How have you been? That's what I was trying to say. Bloody hell, Adley. Get your teeth finished. These are your teeth.
I'm all right. I'm doing fine. I said, I apologise for being late because.
Do you want to know what you've missed? Tell him what he's missed, Matt. Tell him what he's missed.
Nakuti in a Chinese cookie.
Okay.
Shooting at one in a
kilt.
I missed that.
Yeah.
You've missed Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, right?
Wimbledon. You've missed shooting at one as a furry. You've missed the 5 Doctors released.
Being eaten by his couch. Yeah.
You've missed more shots from the 5 Doctors special edition, maybe, and the release date for the Blu-ray box set of season 20. That's out. We think it's out mid-September, Ian, so it's not as long to wait as we feared. He's there. He's with us. Vanessa says that the Blu-ray set of all of New Doctor Who is far too expensive anyway, and people are asking about other features as well, such as isolated scores, things that they didn't get before. So who knows? Hopefully there'll be more details coming, because that's a big price tag, isn't it, Matt? So they should give people as much information as they possibly can if they're going to lay down that amount of money, $174. Yeah, sort it out.
What you want, you know.
Pick up what you want and take out what you need now, because it is that time. It's time for your golden moment, yes, to take out, to go and point Percy at the porcelain if you need to, or top yourself up with whatever is your tipple of choice while you watch Type 40 Live, because it's time that we enjoy the Type 40 ad break, which is a few minutes worth of fabulous TV golden moments from the past, full of faces from the annals of, yes, I said annals, of Doctor Who history. They're lining up now to take you back through the decades while you go up and top up your drink or relieve yourself. Whichever you need to do, you go off and do that, and we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes right after the usual Type 40 ad break. Here it is.
Hey guys, come look at this!
Step into another dimension and discover the new See It Doctor Who edition, a DVD game that's bigger on the inside, with a galaxy of real Doctor Who clips that test your knowledge, trivia questions, and puzzlers from the first 3 series, including
The Evolution of the Daleks!
See It Doctor Who edition, now available on planet Earth.
In life, there are clever choices and not so clever choices. Choosing to go metal detecting in a farmer's field when there's a big angry bull nearby is a not so clever choice. Choosing to heat your off-grid home with an underground Calagas tank so you have more space in your garden is a clever choice. Make the clever choice. Switch to Cala.
Mr. Sharwood, can I have your esteemed opinion on my latest creation?
Delighted, Mr. Bannerjee. Succulent chicken, fenugreek, coriander, and fresh ginger. A perfectly excellent chicken korma. If you could deep freeze it, I'd take a few plates.
This way forward. How deep do you want it frozen?
At last, authentic Indian food from the freezer.
If anyone would, Sharwood.
No, please, change.
Ronald, how nice of you to stop.
It's all right, Miss Ames.
Oh, call me Joy, please. Oh, that's better, Ronald, isn't it? I do think a little Mantovani adds to the ambiance, don't you? There's something terribly sensuous about pounding rain. Oh, Ronnie, don't tell me you've run out of petrol.
No, I haven't. It's the distributor.
You don't expect me to believe that, do you?
Whatever you drive, fit AC Delco car parts, or one day your car will get even.
You naughty boy.
Welcome back to Type 40 Live, your live livestream magazine format Doctor Who show, clocking all the fixed and not so fixed points in the Whoniverse, both on and off screen. Whether you prefer the fourth or the fifth dimensions, a bit like Bonnie here. She's playing with herself, which is something I never thought I'd see. I'm here with the panel. Where are you, everybody? Yeah, I'm here with the panel here, and we're getting stuck into more of the week in Doctor Who. So I've got Matt Pott, I've got Girl, we've got Ian David Diaz, late arrival there, but he's here at last, and we've got Simon Horton, who another person didn't think we'd get, but he's here too, and Charlotte Shields there as well. And we've got some more comments. People have been enjoying the Type 40 ad break as always. Let's see if it stirred up some memories with them. Pertwee was once a once-in-a-generation level actor, says Mark Milford. I think that's probably true. Mark Lewis says the Doctor and Miss Jones. There we got Peter Capaldi and Francis de la Tour, hadn't we, in that commercial there? A real funny one. I suppose I must have seen that back in the day, but with these adverts, you don't latch on to some actors, do you? Peter Capaldi, Simon, we all knew his face, but he wasn't a name, was he?
Yeah, I must be honest, I've never seen that advert. I just wondered whether it was an overseas advert, that from the voiceover at the end, it sounded like it might have been an overseas advert, and maybe that's why we never saw it, Dan. Don't know.
Yeah, could be. So keep the comments coming, everybody. We've got, so there's Bonnie with some classic action figures there. Those are the Daypole figure sets, aren't they, from around 1988. So we've got Mel and the notorious Green Canine, the Tetrap with his little pot belly. It's fantastic. I never had one of these. I wondered what the big box was for under the TARDIS console. It was probably to put some batteries in, wasn't it?
It was the batteries for the console. And the console was absolutely beautiful. The time rotor just worked so perfectly. It was just a shame it only got 5 sides. They messed up and gave it 5 sides instead of 6. But it was a beautiful piece of merchandise. It's gorgeous.
Wonderful. Yes. Please, let us know your memories. Did you own that Daypole set? I'd love to know. Somebody out there has probably still got one, probably still in its boxy, and that tends to be what the Doctor Who community are like. I've often done that myself. Let us know what you think of it all, of course. Please like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get the notifications about everything else that we've got coming up here on Type 40 and Type 40 Live. We're streaming it in. We're all over the place. We're streaming. We're really getting the hang of this now. Streaming to Rumble. So say hello to the Rumblers out there, or the Rumblers, the Movers and the Shakers, and on YouTube as always, and over to the Type 40 Facebook group. So hello everybody who's watching in all of those places. Okay, so when was it? Around Easter time, Russell T Davies, he promised us a bristle of information and visuals from all new Doctor Who will begin to appear in the summer. Summer's definitely here. Here we are. And we do have several new things that have been released in the last couple of days, including the biggest of them all, I think, which has probably been putting fan artists and cosplayers out of their misery, with the big reveal of the brand new look for one of the Doctor's longest serving companions, the Sonic Screwdriver. Of course, I'm talking about the Sonic Screwdriver. There can't be many people, many Doctor Who fans, who haven't got one of these somewhere in their collection. One of the character options toys of the various Sonic Screwdrivers from over the years. So they started with the New Who ones, then they went back and they released all the classic ones as well. And I think that when these were first being released, I'd certainly got 3 or 4 of these for my kids, and maybe a couple for myself too. So they were some of the biggest selling toys of around the 2006 time, incredibly popular with young kids, and just in the way that I suppose that Russell wanted them to be, Sarah, because it was something, it's the equivalent of just a gizmo that kids could sort of whiz around in the air, couldn't they? And I can imagine it could do all sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And for big kids as well, and little kids. And well, it's our equivalent of a lightsaber or a Harry Potter wand. It's the must-have.
I think it was the must-have Christmas toy of that year. I think it would have been, it wasn't the first year. Did they have them out right away? No, they did, because one came out with Chris Eccleston on the packet, didn't it?
Yes, it did. You remember? Look,
show us. Let's get that up on the big screen there, Ian. So, what have you got there? This is a gift set, is it not? Yes.
Yeah, they're all up to Matt Smith. So it's all of them up to Matt Smith. I do
They
believe.
are rather fabulous, those are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get bored of the Tom Baker one and you decide you don't want that one, just send it my way.
The only
you
one
don't
that's
need
missing.
all that, do you? You don't need all of them, do you?
Of course I do. But I think the only one that's missing is the very first one, which is it a pen? It looks like a pen.
Yeah,
I've got the Capaldi one.
Yes,
yeah.
You're
I haven't got that
talking.
one either.
You're talking about this one. So the sonic screwdriver, or various versions of it, has been in the Doctor's pocket usually, or up his sleeve, all over the years in one form or another. Patrick Troughton's second Doctor was the first to use it. It was sort of popularised more by John Pertwee. He was the one that was seen brandishing it the most. I think Tom Baker continued to use it to various degrees throughout his term, and Peter Davison also, certainly into his first season, before the little silver blight was put out of its misery, Simon. I think a lot of kids were very upset by that decision by John Nathan Turner to destroy it, weren't they?
Yeah, I remember being heartbroken that the sonic screwdriver bit, and it was a big thing. I remember we knew in advance. It was it episode 3 of the Visitation, and we knew in advance that it was going to happen, that it was going to be destroyed. So I remember
I didn't.
The whole of the Visitation just waiting for it to be destroyed, and then they blew it up.
The devils.
Sad.
I don't know. I think it was a good move to do that because Davison's the only one that went majority of the thing hands free, didn't he? So and he had to. Obviously, it's a ploy just to get through doors and stuff like that, isn't it? Really, let's face it. It doesn't work on wood for some reason.
But I think it just seemed a shame that it had gone. I mean, yeah, you're right. No, it did become a plot device to get through the door. But it's just nice to be there. It's just the TARDIS is a plot device to get him to different locations, but we'd never consider getting rid of that.
Also, Also, what's interesting about the sonic screwdriver is in classic, they'd hold it like this, didn't they? And then I can't remember when they ended up holding it like a wand.
It was David Tennant.
David Tennant, that was it. Yeah. David Tennant one. Yeah. So
does everything now.
So it was off screen for quite a time, Matt. We did get a brief. We got several uses of it actually in the TV movie, didn't we? But it didn't come back properly until the series came back properly in 2005. Chris Eccleston's Doctor, I think, used it slightly more sparingly, but they had a lot of fun with it then. And that was when a new generation of kids, though, really latched onto it, didn't they, Charlotte? And they did this kind of like Sarah said, wasn't it? It's seen as a sort of magic wand of sorts, but I think it was initially quite harmless. And I like the fact that it was quite inconspicuous, that original one. You could see Chris Eccleston. You could put that into the lining of a jacket, and it wouldn't look too bulky, would it? I really liked this when it was first on, and the look of it, the fact the sound effect was the same. What did you think about it when you first saw the Sonic?
I just thought it was such a unique, different thing. Like the one thing the Doctor carries around is a screwdriver. I just thought that's so British and brilliant and unique. And Chris was quite sort of sparse with it. I can remember, I think the first thing he ever used it was in the Empty Child two-parter. Yeah. And it was really quick against the door, and then it went. And I like that about Chris.
I remember him jamming the lift in Rose with it right away as soon as he meets Rose.
Right.
And there's even a visual effect which I don't think they ever used again, of sort of blue wavy lines that comes out of it. So one of my favourite moments. What I like about the way Chris Eccleston used it was I always felt that he treated it as if he was handling a tool.
Yes, very workman.
Yeah. It did seem that way, as if he was sort of a builder getting something out of a toolkit and swigging a cup of builder's tea. His two successors, they brandished theirs. I think this is where we see the sonic screwdriver become that kind of all-purpose magic wand. And I do know why people feel the way they do about it, but I do consider it to be all part of the fun. They sort of took it away for a little while and replaced it with some sonic shades, which that never really sat well with me before bringing it back again as part of the TARDIS. So I think the new series has sort of been in and out of love with the sonic screwdriver, but I think they were wise not to ever remove it entirely. I mean, there was a major stylistic bollock dropped in 2018. I can't think of putting it any other way. With this monstrosity, I could barely believe it when I saw it. I mean, it was incorporated into the plot and Chris Chibnall. It was incorporated into the plot of the episode, which, I should acknowledge that in some way, but I don't want to. But that model has been unceremoniously destroyed within the pages of Doctor Who magazine, and much to the delight of the majority of the fandom, I'm happy to say. Psychics Beats, he's enjoying this trip down memory lane and seeing Ian's set there, his collector's set of all those TARDISes, and says, so I had all of them and I sold them back in 2014 when I turned 13 because I grew out of the show. What a stupid idea. I now want it back on my desk. I wish I still had my 10th Doctor sonic screwdriver, adds the Sodor engines. So these are some of the younger ones here. I think we're stirring some memories here of the toys that they once had and broke or gave away, Simon. That's another thing with Doctor Who fans, isn't it? We all have those things that we may have thought we'd grown out of and we got rid of, and then we want to get them back.
We've all been there. I lost all of my toys that I had, gave them away or sold them or whatever, lost every single one of them, and now pay a fortune to try and get them back from eBay. That's the way it goes. We've all been there.
I had the Sarah Jane Sonic lipstick and I gave it away to my niece. I don't know what she did with it, but I want it back
lost
now.
it, I would imagine. Broke it, threw it away.
We've got a comment here from Jack Thursby, who says that he's bought the Rubber Tree 4th Doctor sonic screwdriver. It's the only one that I'll ever need. He says very
I'm
firmly.
intrigued by that one. How much was that one? I need to know, Jack. How much was that? And where do I get one? I'd love a 4th Doctor sonic. That's what I want. I've never got one. I don't own a sonic screwdriver.
Same here.
I had somebody make me one, as Dan knows. Somebody made me a sonic screwdriver, and I've still got it somewhere up there.
They make me one. I'll be there for it.
So when you see them all lined up like this, when you see them all lined up like this, though, it does speak. It's the heritage, isn't it, of another Doctor Who icon and another favourite. I mean, it's changed more than the TARDIS has, because the TARDIS has always been largely, to the naked eye, to the untrained eye, the same. But everybody can tell that the sonic changes and it adapts. It's the same software with a different case, as we've been told in the show itself. Now, we saw David Tennant waving a brand new one in the air when he was out filming well over a year ago now. And people were very keen to get a look at it. And there's some reasonably clear pictures, but we still couldn't quite make it out. And fan artists have attempted to catch it somewhere. And then a couple of weeks ago, they did, up on the BBC social medias, they started teasing here that we were going to get to see it soon. They made sure it was kept out of sight, but they've been putting out various sort of pieces, strolls down memory lane a little bit like this, about the sonic screwdrivers from the past that may have been your favourites. But we finally got the new one, Ian. I know you've been out of the loop this week, but have you seen it? Say no, because I'm going to show it you anyway. Yeah, we do have the brand new sonic screwdriver, and it was revealed not just in a picture that they put onto social media, but it was with a trailer. A trailer all of its own. So I'm going to a brand new, a complete trailer. Check this out, my friend. You're going to get teased here with all various lovely details of the sonic screwdriver. So we see up the barrel and lots of lights, and there's brass and blue. I did wonder if that was the seal of the timeline.
And also, I don't know if you could hear it. There's some lovely music.
Can't play the music without getting a copyright strike.
Oh no, I'm just saying to Simon and to Ian, there's also some music which goes with it.
Oh, I like
very nicely done.
It's quite nice.
Where it goes.
Oh, look at that.
It's funny. This goes back to a comment that I made right at the top of the show about it's just an air freshener. It's just a sonic screwdriver.
I mean, look at this. This is beautiful.
No.
It's overselling it to me. That's just way overselling it.
Don't need to see inside it.
Ever since Matt Smith's sonic screwdriver came out, where it like prongs out, they seem to be trying to copy that. Ever since that happened, I mean, I know Bacaldi's sonic screwdriver was very different but it was bulky as well, unlike the ones beforehand, which was quite thin. And you know what I mean? It just seemed to like they like that flavor of Matt Smith. It looks like, you know.
Well,
so.
I think this is on purpose got a lot of different Sonics in it. I think it's very much homage here, and I think that suits the fact that in the 60th anniversary specials, we've got a Doctor with an old face, and his Sonic has got hints to other Doctors. I just think, for me, I know some people think that's too funny, but for me, that's what I want for the 60th, and it's perfect. And I think the design's gorgeous. I really love this Sonic.
Well, it should be in the shops, right? And people should go and people be rushing to the shops and buying it, right?
Well, sort of. We're going to come to that in a little while as well, because this was announced yesterday. And right away, sort of in a parallel, there seemed to be a different announcement going on that nobody was aware was connected to this. But yeah, I saw this sonic screwdriver, and I have to say that I already had faith this was going to be, because you can see in those pictures from the filming, you can see it's once more back to being a tool rather than just some bit of old tat. I think it looks beautiful again. But I really did love that animation, and with the music as well. I think it's fabulous. People are speculating in the live chat here, saying apparently the settings change when you twiddle the various dials at the bottom there, and you've got that new button in the middle that activates the what would you say those are? They're arms, aren't they, that come out from the side? So I'm really liking this. I would say this has to be the sonic screwdriver that's going to be used not just by the 14th Doctor, which they say in the trailer there, but they wouldn't create this, would they, Sarah, without the intention of passing it on to Shooty Gap? Well, surely there won't be another one for the next series.
I wouldn't have thought so. It's too much money for a start. Just
got enough.
Well, yeah.
Pragmatic about it. No. I think it's perfect. I think it's beautiful, and
I'm really grumpy. I really don't.
You're not feeling this. You're not feeling this either.
I'm not even remotely feeling this.
It's okay.
That's not a sonic screwdriver. I hate the porcelain handle. I've always hated the porcelain, the cracked porcelain on it. I've never understood Russell T Davies' obsession with this cracked porcelain on the Sonic. It just makes no sense whatsoever. There's too many different colors going on. You've got the brass, you've got the chrome, you've got the silly arms that come out at the side. That's not a sonic screwdriver to me. But then, to be honest, no 2005 series onwards has ever been a sonic screwdriver to me.
They look like
silver, and it's got a little thing.
Well, this is the thing. Well, this is the thing, though, isn't it? The fact is, to people who've grown up with new Doctor Who, which is 18 years old now, this is what a sonic screwdriver looks like. It's very much part of that legacy, isn't it? So whilst I do see where you're coming from, Simon, to me, this is a sonic screwdriver.
I like all four.
Go on, sorry, Matt.
I said I like all four.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just like all four. I like them.
Yeah, it's good. To me, they just look over designed. They all look over designed.
They look toyetic.
Yeah, you're right, Max. They look like they're designed to be toys. They're just messy. I love the simplicity, the clean lines of the original design. There just was no need to mess with that. These are just not Sonics. They're pens. These are fancy pens to me.
But I guess things have to evolve, right, Simon? So I don't mind.
Why the TARDIS hasn't evolved? Why?
Well, the TARDIS has.
No, I'm talking about the exterior. The TARDIS.
Yeah,
well, it has evolved, but it's still the police box. It still looks
exactly.
Like a
you
police
can't.
box.
Yeah, you can't. That's like. It's like changing James Bond into a woman.
Well, why change the Sonic though?
I
get. You absolutely can do. Of course you can do, but I just don't like it. Sorry, it's not.
It's all right. It's all right. It's fine if you don't like it, but I actually like them. I actually like all four. I don't know. I think they're really nice.
I like them all. I like the classic ones, and I like this. This one, it doesn't look like a screwdriver, but it does look like a tool. You know, it looks a bit like a Swiss Army knife, and like a spirit level. And to me, it looks a bit more
Transformers.
The reason why I liked the Eccleston and Tennant one so much is because I felt it did look like a screwdriver. I liked the fact, and this is a very Russell T Davies thing, because he's the one who reintroduced the Yale key for the TARDIS, isn't he? And I take it literally, so that a child who's seen that key to the TARDIS will have seen a key that looks just like it on his mum's key ring attached to her purse or in his dad's pocket or something like that. And it's the same with this, the fact you could actually see a screwdriver running through the middle of it. And I like the fact they've reintroduced it ever so slightly in this. You've got a blue one there. So I was never that keen on the Capaldi one, but then obviously it stands to reason. Just like with the TARDIS, with console rooms and with costumes, everybody's going to have their favourites, aren't they? And at a time when the series is kind of resetting and they're trying to drag the entire thing, Charlotte, clear from the wreckage, clear from the crash site, they're also trying to get back the people all over the world who found this show with the Matt Smith era. So I think this is the reason why you've got this kind of ultimate. You see, this is how I view this. This is an evolution of what we've had before on New Who to become a sort of ultimate version of the modern sonic screwdriver, I suppose. And there is something that's noticeable by its absence. I'm going to break down here. This is up on Twitter. I don't know who created this. This is a breakdown showing you which all the components come from. So which part comes from the 11th, the 10th, and the 9th Doctor, and which bits are resembling the 12th. And somebody on Twitter was actually asking where is 13's element, and some fans were doing the usual thing of going. Well, I say fans, the people who kind of exited the fandom. They were doing the usual. But I think generally speaking, this is one of those moments for the Doctor Who fandom where we've largely heaved a bit of a sigh of relief that the sonic screwdriver, I mean, I know apart from people who feel the way that Simon does, that at least this looks like a sonic screwdriver again. This looks like a thing of purpose. It's fantastical. It's of a fantasy environment.
Well, all I would say, just throwing the curveball in, wouldn't it have been so fantastic to go back to the original design for the 60th anniversary? Wouldn't that just have been the coolest thing to go back and do, and fine, change it a little bit if you need to, redesign it a little bit if you want to, but just go back to the original, the classic design rather than the modern design.
I think, Simon, playing devil's advocate, because in Doctor Who, going from place to place and time to time, it's the way I view the show is that it's sort of an almost an anthology show in the way that it skips around. It is a sci-fi show, but it's not a sci-fi show. It's more a fantasy show. And for the most part, except when it goes to outer space, you don't actually see that many gizmos and gadgets. You don't see much of the Star Wars or Star Trek. There's not many opportunities to give people a bit of tech, apart from with the TARDIS itself and with the sonic screwdriver. And I think for modern children in particular, I'm thinking about people who've never seen the show before, either New Who or classic or any of it, if the Doctor whips something quite futuristic, because I would imagine that I wasn't around then, but when Pertwee was using that sonic device, that probably looked mega futuristic. It doesn't now, it looks very quaint. And so I think that this is kind of the equivalent now. Yeah, there are more moving parts. And I know what you say, that's probably unnecessary. It's probably a bit fussy. But I think this is somewhere near the equivalent to a modern kid. If they saw this guy who's dressed sort of, well, in an ideal world, semi-Edwardian. I don't know what shoot he's wearing, but for the sake of our argument, semi-Edwardian. And he whips out this really futuristic-looking gizmo. You can't nail it down to where it's from. He whips that out of his pocket and does something that you can't understand. I think that's the novelty of this. Am I being too romantic again?
Well, what I think is happening here, honestly, I think this production team, when it is actually thinking, is trying to get both classic fans and that New Who audience, trying to do things for both of them. The logo is for classic fans. That's a massive callback. Yeah. That's got the nostalgia. I think Jodie's outside, which is we know Tennant's Doctor is using the outside at least of her TARDIS. We've all said that has a classic feel to it, that outside. It's darker. Yeah. It makes you think of classic. But this Sonic, I agree with you, Dan, it's for New Who fans. So I think he's trying, and this production team is thinking, which bits can we sort of cater to which part of the fan base? And if we have them all doing different bits, hopefully that will encompass a good.
But also,
people,
right?
Really, everybody.
Also, it's they're thinking of the toy as well. They're thinking of, they're trying to bring in that audience. Let's get a toy out there. Hopefully it will sell, and then bring attention to the Doctor Who series and stuff like that. I understand why they've got it, and quite frankly, I think it looks really nice. Personally,
Yeah,
I still don't think it's as good as the Matt Smith one, but I think this one's nice. It looks.
Let's take a look Ian, at some of the comments from people in the live chat here on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. We've got a comment here from. Let's see, who can we start with? We have Gary Akers, the Retro Doc, says this does everything but loosen and tighten up some screws. We have Jack Thursby with these are all distractions. How about just make the show good again? Jack, this is making the show good again stylistically. As I say, this is pulling the brand, the show that we love, the legacy clear of the crash site. It's very, very important that all this stuff's in place, in my opinion. We have Problem Being in the live chat. Good to see you there, mate. And he says, well, I've got a comment from Problem Being somewhere. Agreed, Simon Horton, over-designed and rather Disney. Mm-hmm. They remind me of four-colour biros, says Crimply into Blue.
Yeah, he does, actually.
I can't argue with that.
Now you mention it.
That's bang on. David Mullen says, I like this new Sonic, but they are redesigned in order to sell a toy. No question about it. Yeah. David, yeah, of course they want to sell these things, but this has been redesigned because it's a cornerstone of the show that needed to be saved. It needed to be retrieved from what had been damaged. So in this instance, it's above that. Wendology says, I do love the classic Sonics, but I don't mind the gadgety look of the newer ones, except, well, that one. Mark Milford said the original Sonic first appeared in the Thunderheads movie, or do you mean Thunderbirds movie? I don't know. Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Of course, yeah, there was a gadget that the Tracy brothers used that was very similar, wasn't it, in the Thunderbirds film? Jack Thursby says the third and fourth Doctor Sonic was perfection. And Darren Bradley says the Eccleston one had an elbow pivot feature, but it was never used on screen. No, I don't remember that at all. Richard Brooks doesn't like the arm things. They just look awkward and would get bent up with heavy use. Depends what they're made of, Richard. And but keep those comments coming. Carol Jude said, I got blocked by Twitter because I suggested that 13's vibrator was contribution was a vibrator or vibrated. Yes, well, yeah, you were right. Of course you were right. And surely it's better than the last one, Simon, says Jackady.
Yeah, and I would agree there, Jackady, but that's really not saying very much, let's be honest. Because that was the worst thing. It was like a vibrator, and it wasn't even a sonic strip. It just was a vibe. It was a sex toy.
Some people feel that Shooty will get his own Sonic after all, though. And Ada McGeer says, I'm kind of tired of people wanting every aspect of Doctor Who to return to the classic series. The TARDIS interior, the Sonic, the Sontarans, and whatever. I want stylish evolution. That's my preference. I think that's there are some exceptions, but I do see Simon's point as well. I think simplicity. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for simplicity, man.
I kind of want a more mechanical type of device. I don't want something that looks like something out of the year 3000 or something. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I didn't mind the very first one that Christopher Eccleston had. That was kind of interesting, but then they've sort of gone ape on the whole design sort of thing, and they've added to it rather than gone back to simplicity.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting how everybody has a different opinion on the Sonic. And I think like Matt has a good point. Simon has a good point. Starry has a good point.
Does.
You know what I mean? It just goes to show how much we love the show. I mean, we discuss this, we argue about certain things, or we disagree about certain things, but at least we're talking about the show. Do you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
That's the thing. So,
and I've got to agree with Charlotte about winning over classic and new fans, and again, because we've all been pushed away for so long, and I appreciate the effort that's going in to try and close some of that back. And I know it's not going to work for everybody, but at the minute I am impressed at the level at which they're trying, and for it to look like the era that me and Charlotte grew up with. It's nostalgia for us, isn't it? You know, I know it's nostalgia for the classic series, but now we're old enough that we're getting our own sense of nostalgia now, and it is really nice. And I love that image of showing which is from which Doctor. I just think, it really appeals to me. But yeah, we'll see how it's used.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
If it starts being used as a magic wand again and does everything, then it's
that
was more Stephen Moffat, I think, that did that.
The thing I find more surprising than anything is all the hype over the sonic screwdriver. You know, this has never happened before. I just find it. It's not necessarily criticism, although I am left kind of thinking, really. Is this it?
This is like toast to all the crumbs that we've gotten lately. You know,
that's exactly right.
I honestly think that if the series, Simon, I think that the reason for this, in this instance in particular, and with the TARDIS console room, but I know this might stand out as being strange. It's a minor thing because it was such a major part of New Who hitting big. Maybe. I think that people are reacting in the way they are because it's, thank God they've got this right. Because before, another production team, an assortment of incompetence, they came in and they even buggered this up. I mean, it's extraordinary how you could overthink and over-design and get something so wrong. And so it's people knowing that there are professionals back in the room who understand at least what this thing is supposed to be and why it's appeal. So I think that's why people get as excited as they do, and I think
also it feels like the first bit of proper something new, actual proper news that isn't just here's the same images we've shown you since Christmas, which we've had for months and months and months on end now. It's actually new. I actually like that. I know what you mean. It was, of course it was overproduced. It was a bit ridiculous. We got a trailer. But you know what? I actually appreciated, we had a bit of flair back in this show for 20 seconds.
Yeah, fair point.
A bit of flair, a bit of performance, a bit of look at us. And I think Doctor Who needs that at the stage. I would agree there, So I think actually, no, for something like this, because as long as you don't do like 2 trailers or 3 trailers, of course. But just to do one with a bit, like I said, I really love the music as well. I know, I don't know if that's a bit of new music that was played. It felt new to me.
No, you said it.
I appreciated, like I said, it was a bit of showman again. It was a bit of flair. It was a bit of Doctor Who actually saying, "Look at me, I'm back." And I
assumed it was probably BBC stock music that they owned, which is obviously why I was going to risk a copyright strike. But now I haven't ever heard that music before, and I'm starting to think it could be Murray Gold.
I think that could have been a preview also. I don't know if this was them being a bit sneaky, and maybe I'm giving them way too much credit. But I don't know if this was them giving us a little preview or possibly what Murray's cooking up.
You could be right.
In a sort of sneaky, underhanded way.
And the hype didn't stop there because Character Options, they were stating yesterday how they had something coming today on Thursday, the 20th of July, 2023. They got something they were going to announce at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, a lot of people assume this was a figure set. You know, they're famous figure sets of 3, maybe 4 figures. They do waves of them, don't they? And people get very excited. The hardcore collectors, they jump all over those, and it's terrible for scalping with all that stuff. So people assumed it was going to be one of those. But it turned out in the end that it was actually the toy version of this brand new sonic screwdriver, Ian. So you'll be able to add this to your collection. So this is the pack shot of Character Options version of the brand new sonic screwdriver for 5s and overs. But you can't get this in toy shops. It's an online exclusive from Character Options' own website. It features light and sound effects. It features extending and opening emitter. Oh, that sounds very impressive, doesn't it? And here is in its 2 various states of being flaccid and not so flaccid. And so that's what you're going to get there in the box. And people went mad for this. It was trending on Twitter, and the website kept going down. Sarah, did you see the reactions to this? Because people were trying to order them, and it just kept crashing.
I mean, it's very different from the
character
picture that you showed. It looks
Hang on,
slightly
it's-
different, doesn't it? Sorry.
So
But
we're
I-
talking over one another.
it
We're talking
does,
over one
yeah.
another here. No, nobody can hear what we're saying. Sarah, finish your answer. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, character had to keep putting updates on Twitter, but please don't come onto the site while we're
okay.
working on it. Yeah.
I was saying
Well,
that it
sorry,
looks
Ian.
very different, to the real one, doesn't it? I think the arms are a lot shorter. And the
Well, and
top
also
bits are
the end
shorter.
section doesn't appear to be as much brass.
What-
on
yeah,
those little
yeah.
4 little wheels.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
are brass on the TV
Yeah.
version, aren't they? Don't
It
know.
looks more polished. This one looks more polished.
Yeah, the
But it looks
handle.
more like a toy, doesn't it? Let's be honest. It does
Yeah.
look more like a toy. I
Yeah,
guess.
the handle thing is a lot more. It's not white because the original one is it's white, isn't it? And it looks a bit. It's a different color. But anyway, we'll see.
It does look more squat somehow. It just looks.
I was going to
chunkier.
say
This is
that.
only a
Less elegant.
prototype. I can tell you this is only a prototype. It won't look like this.
Well,
okay.
maybe it could even be a computer generated
Could be.
Maybe.
version. I can't quite tell. I mean, those are so good now, aren't they, Matt? Stuff that's been created digitally, very different from what you actually get in the pack. But yeah, here it is. Here's the pack shot, and these were. It turns out these are actually at San Diego Comic Con, because although Character Options announced this morning, they were beaten to the punch by Elizabeth Miles, who I think is a writer for Big Finish and for BBC Books. She picked one up here from San Diego Comic Con in the early hours, I think, as soon as it had opened. And here it is. Yeah, she's very, very proudly displaying it there. So they are for sale there. And it looks somewhere between the production art and the actual model. So I think, it is definitely different to the on-screen one, but then again, they always are.
You know what? It's great to see a product with that great Doctor Who 60 years on it.
It is nice, isn't it?
It's rather than we're still seeing the old one, the old logo, and to see that now, it does look nice.
In fact,
really
Matt,
suits
now you've said that, those diamonds with the gold trim, and if you look, there's the diamond patterning is sort of in relief all around it. That must be from the new style guide as well. I haven't seen any of this before. It looks all new.
Yep. No, definitely. It's to be honest, I think it's probably the first real reveal of that logo to push forward with the merchandise,
I mean, maybe there will be, because obviously it says 60 years there. Maybe there'll be another edition of it coming next year, Sarah, when they could release it again as the 15th Doctor's Sonic. I don't know, but at the moment, and maybe put it out in toy shops as well. Maybe they're waiting to see whether this is well received, whether the specials do well before they roll out some sort of release in toy shops or even in supermarkets to repeat the success of the 2006 one. I don't know. So this was the website. Now, I tried to get on this. I tried to log on, and there was a wait. I've never seen this on a website before, where it said I couldn't access it for 60 seconds. And I had to, it was sort of buffering.
You
gone
got
down.
60 seconds. I got 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
So
That was just to get onto the website, everyone. That wasn't you.
So you went through to the website, Sarah. Did you just go to have a look, or did you intend to make a purchase?
I'd just gone to have a nosy and then and to see how much it was. But then when I thought, well, it keeps going down and it's an online exclusive, and I liked it that much. So it was a bit of an impulse buy of like, I'm just going to get it while I'm here.
You do realise what they're doing here. They're sort of keeping you waiting to get into the website just to build the hype and excitement. So you buy it. It's as simple as that.
I did. I went, See, well, you wouldn't do it, Simon, would you? Because you're immune. But I fell for it.
No, but I would. For certain things, I would equally buy into it. You would, because you'd think, oh my God, I've got to get it now. That's what they're doing. I did it with the Blu-ray box sets.
It's the same thing. There was a lot of conversation around this, a lot of dialogue around it, I should say, on social media. It was trending in various different forms. People were very, very excited for it. I'm not sure if it's a limited number anywhere, Charlotte. Have you ever seen, because I haven't seen Character's own press release, because obviously their website did go down. So I didn't, all I saw was that picture from Elizabeth Miles on Twitter. I didn't even see the pack shots until word was getting to me that you couldn't get on this website. Were you aware that this was all going on?
I didn't know about the website. I knew that they'd released that video and that we'd got the proper reveal. I didn't know about the character option. I know they have done like exclusive TARDIS and Doctor toys, though, haven't they, in the past? So this isn't a new thing for them. But I can't, in my head, I can't imagine for our first Doctor of this new run, Sonic, to be kept as an online exclusive. I just can't see that being it. I think, like I said, I honestly, they probably are going to do this at first, like Simon said, to get that sort of you have to buy going. And then probably months down the line, they'll probably do a second batch and then they'll go in the shops.
I got a, when I went to San Diego Comic-Con, they also had a exclusive Time Crash had just came out. So they did a Time Crash exclusive with Peter Davison and David Tennant, and what was the exclusive besides the two toys was that Peter Davison up at that point had the stick of celery on him, whereas before he didn't have it. So for some reason they released it as such. So and that cost a fortune, but you couldn't get that online. So and this is sold out now. So
I just think
get it.
Like you said, the Sonic is such a big part of the Doctor. I just can't see this not becoming a boxed item in shops.
So this went on sale this morning at 10 o'clock this morning, and Matt's absolutely right. It has sold out. We've got Grand Moff Miranda on YouTube says boo, online only. It's sold out in less than 12 hours, says Jackady. There's still hype for this old show. Maybe there is hope for the future. Where can I buy this, says Peter Harrington. It was on the character options website, but Matt's quite right, they have all gone now. Grand Moff Miranda says, I think I'll give it a miss. It looks like it's easily breakable. Wendology likes that beautiful new logo, just like you mentioned there, Matt. Carol Jude said this was so funny watching the character's website last night, because obviously it was in the States it was last night, wasn't it? Ada McGear says those images don't do it justice. The chrome and gloss finish looks stunning, closer to a replica look. Sounds like he's a man who's seen the actual prop there. Tony L says, do you think as well as revealing the new sonic screwdriver, they will reveal the new theme tune and TARDIS console to reassure old fans that Doctor Who's in safer? No, they won't go that far. We may get a glamour video of the TARDIS. We may, but we certainly won't get the signature tune for a long, long time. And in fact, that may even change between the anniversary specials and Series 14. I don't know. Peter Harrington says it'll be in B&M stores for Christmas. I think it's unlikely. I think it could be in B&M stores for when Shooty comes on screen. I think this will come out again. I have no doubt it will come out again in a different form. Whether it'll have all these features with its emitters and things, I don't know, because this wasn't the price that you would expect to spend. Mark Milford said it was £29.99. It was indeed, Matt.
It was.
Sometimes if they have stock left over at Comic-Con, because like you said, this is a Comic-Con exclusive as well. So if they do have stock left over, they will put it on for sale on the site. Mm-hmm. So for any unsold stock. So
how it works.
I really do think this is just to gauge demand, and I think you're right. I think we will see this out in time for Christmas.
Richard Brooks says, I hope everyone who wants one manages to get one for a reasonable price. $29.99. It isn't cheap. I mean, it's obviously a limited edition because they sold out. There's only a set amount of them, at least for now. So it does seem that way.
I just suspect that they'll be back in stock again in the not. I'll place my bets now. They'll be back in stock again in the not too distant future.
Maybe just before the specials come out.
Could be.
Psychic
I think even before then.
Because it's not a limited edition, is it? Doesn't say limited edition.
Well, it must be because they've all gone. I mean, when something, in my experience, and I haven't bought much from them. Whenever they do have online exclusives, there is a cap on how many that they are. That's all I've really noticed, but I couldn't speak for how many. Sorry, Simon.
No, all I was going to say was call me a cynic, but I think that there's probably not a limited edition. I think they just are trying to get everybody
accelerate interest
over this. Oh, they're sold out. Oh, it's all right. We found a load more at the back of the warehouse that we'd forgotten we got. I think they'll be back. I think
Psychic Beats said I had one in my basket, and I thought, no, it's too expensive. Apparently, there will be another one that costs less money.
Yeah.
Numerous people, yes, who couldn't get them.
Postage is the thing that kills you. It's terrible the amount because this is obviously a UK site, so worldwide trying to get this. It's fair enough paying for what you're paying for, but when you're paying more in postage than you are the actual item, that's when you need to go. Nah, I'm not doing it.
We've got a comment here from the Primord Infectant. Hello, PI. Good to see you. Who has an answer for us? Apparently, there is a less expensive edition of it that's going to get released generally in toy shops, but the difference will be that it won't have that silvery paint. It'll be presumably it'll be a matte finish. It'll be a different edition that comes in stores next year. That's the plan. Thank you, PI.
It'll be a metallic plastic.
We're all wondering about this, and Mark Milford says that there are 95,000 views on the Sonic Screwdriver preview trailer over on YouTube.
Wow.
There we are. So, in answer to the people who asked me, did I buy one? Well, I and ahed about it because I don't really tend to buy a lot from Character Options, but I do own some of the Sonics, and I have to say, in this instance, I had to decide in 10 minutes flat. I thought, and maybe I was won over, Simon, but I did pull the trigger, and I have ordered one of these. It is on its way in the next couple of days. I'd rather have one and know I can have one than not have bought one and will be regretting it by the time the specials come on, because this is the first item of 60th anniversary merchandise that I've bought. Charlotte, I understand that's it. You're bouncing.
Yeah, I'm bouncing. So see you all.
Thank you, as
week.
always, for your company. I hope to see you again next time. We'll be in touch. Lots more to talk about, no doubt. Good night.
Good night, love. Bye.
We are experiencing the difficulties, everybody, in the live chat with our companions there on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. But we can view your comments via various devices. So it just means we're a little slower than usual. Keep the comments coming. Let us know what you think of the new Sonic Screwdriver. Are you relieved at the sight of something that looks fit for purpose? Or again, are you over all this, and all you really care about are the stories and the character and the basics of it? I don't think there are any wrong answers to this. Ideally, a popular show, Ian. I feel a show that's popular with the mainstream audience should ideally have something for everybody. And whatever you latch onto, whether it's the sci-fi stuff or the human interest stuff, whether it's the gadgets or whether it's the sort of old worldly costume drama stuff, it should entice everybody, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or is that just me?
No, I look, you know what, right? I think it's a good move here to try and get the Sonic out and drum up interest and stuff like that. But again, it remains to be seen what we're going to be presented with Tennant and Shooty. So, fingers crossed that it's going to be good, right? That's what I think.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. These things have been revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. Now we do have it. This has been trending as well, because obviously San Diego Comic-Con that kicked off earlier today. This is 4 or 5 days worth of geeky goodness over in San Diego. Now we've been told Carl Wagner was on the show 2 weeks ago, and he said this event isn't what it was since the pandemic. That's affected it quite a lot. Lots of major studios aren't going to be there, but there is still an excitement around it. So it kicked off. Yeah, it kicked off yesterday on Wednesday the 19th of July, I do beg your pardon, and runs right the way through till Sunday the 23rd in the San Diego Convention Center. And Doctor Who, is it going to be a presence? Well, we still don't know. Originally we thought not. Then we thought yes, because Russell T Davies was telling us that something was going to happen there. Recently, it's obviously with the writer's strike and now the actor's strike forbidding actors from going to conventions, Sarah.
Wow.
It's been a case of who's going to go? Because you'd think that Tennant would have to be there. He's an international star. He should be there. Somebody's got to Shooty, even Sex Education and Doctor. Somebody should be there.
Barbie.
And the Barbie stuff as well. Absolutely. Now, we did the newsletter has gone out. The BBC's official newsletter has gone out, and it's suggested you can meet the Doctor thanks to San Diego Comic-Con. It says Doctor Who is going to San Diego Comic-Con to celebrate. Here's a fresh look at the Doctor. That was out in a newsletter. but it doesn't say that Shooty's going to be there, and there isn't a listed panel in the breakdown of what's coming when. So how this can actually happen, I don't know. Tomorrow morning on Friday, there is a Future of Doctor Who panel, which is going to be fronted by this gentleman, Sandro Monetti. I don't know who this guy is at all, but he's hosting this on Friday morning. Whether it's the future of the brand or the future of the show, who knows? I mean, has anybody else heard anything? Matt, you're San Diego man. You tend to be all over this stuff.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything about this at all. But yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm just wondering, is Shooty a SAG member? Because he's just done the Barbie thing. So I think what might be happening is that they've all the British actors and other foreign actors may be able to go over there because they're not SAG members. So that it's a possibility, you know. It is extremely possible because they're still allowed to do the whole advertising.
I wondered about this as well because some of them are coming out in sympathy. The Screen Actors Guild and Equity in the UK, isn't it, Simon, is the equivalent?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they all do seem to be coming out in unity about this. I mean, I think I got the newsletter in my inbox today that said, was it today, yesterday, that said the Doctor is going to San Diego. And so I kind of think they're going to have to send either Shooty or David Tennant, because if not, you're kind of going to feel you cheated, aren't you? If they're saying the Doctor is going to San Diego Comic-Con, well, that means he's going, surely.
Yeah.
So I kind of think they're going to have either Shooty or David Tennant, or maybe even both.
I don't know how it works though, because with British actors, when they actually star in American movies and TV shows, do they have to join the actual?
I don't think they do.
Shooty was part of Barbie, so and Barbie's just, I think it hasn't been released yet or whatever, but they're supposed to be doing the promotions or whatever, and everything has stopped. Everything, everywhere.
But what I'm saying, what the question
Even in
is
Australia.
that when British people star in TV shows or films, do they have to join the American equivalent?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't think so. In the same way that American actors, for example, wouldn't be required to join Equity if they came and worked here. This is why you often get these punch ups when an American production comes over and films in the UK and demands American stars, because of the fact that rather than British Equity stars, because that as I understand it, they're completely separate things, and no, you wouldn't join the Screen Actors Guild just because you're working in America.
Right.
I think that's where part of the problem arises.
Simon, if that's the case, then maybe Matt's right. Maybe Shooty or
in Australia we've got
Australia
we've got a film industry that, you know, because a lot of America comes over to film over here, and all the American production staff have all gone on strike. They're not working anymore, so therefore they've all had to shut down all the productions. So you know, so there's this weird fine line going on at the moment. So I don't know.
Because
I have this
one more
slide.
thing, because Christopher Nolan walked out. Did he not walk out of his premiere, and all the actors walked out of premiere, but in solidarity with the strike? So I don't know how,
it?
where
That was in the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's in the UK. So I don't know how Shooty and Russell T and how they all stand.
Russell has been at the strikes in Britain, endorsing them.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else. We do have this slide here, Ian, which does, it just breaks down what people are allowed to do. I think it's up to the individual whether they come out in sympathy or not. But it says here, can I participate in personal appearances, conventions, and fan expos? It depends. So they're even quite loose in this. You cannot participate in conventions on behalf of or to promote companies we are striking against. That includes appearances, panels, fan meet and greets involving projects produced by struck companies, whether current or past, and current and past independent projects that have not signed to an interim agreement. You may participate in a convention in ways which are wholly independent of your work on struck projects and that are not sponsored by or connected to the struck companies. So it does seem to be quite fine lines. It says, additionally, you may participate in appearances, conventions, etc., for work under contracts other than the TV and theatrical agreements, such as for new media and video games and things like that. So, I'm glad.
One thing we didn't realise is that this will affect the Disney Plus thing, because that's one of the main cruxes at the moment.
Yes,
the whole
it is.
Disney
It's
thing.
Disney.
Yeah. So, it's a possibility, because Doctor Who is going to be on Disney Plus, that it may affect it majorly. So,
I believe that in light of what Russell T Davies said not that long ago in the pages of Doctor Who magazine, he said that these are tricky days right now. He said we've had the initial rush of excitement, but come the summer with Comic-Con, maybe, perhaps, that's not a promise, and then the BBC's autumn schedule, the heat will begin to intensify. To me, that signaled a very clear intention on Russell T Davies' part to be there, but yet they're not.
It's a possibility, though, as well, that they may, when they say Meet the Doctor, they may just show a snippet of Shooty, because they do show stuff that we don't see for up to a year. So to just crowds, because that's the reason why you get a lot of camera phone footage and that sort of thing, because we don't see it otherwise. So it's possible that they could show like a clip of Shooty in action, and that to them may be what they expect, you to say, hey, you're going to meet the Doctor, but you're not really.
It's a bit sad for the poor people that stumped up the money to go and see it.
That's the thing with Comic-Con. I think they sell out quite in advance, don't they? With a lot of conventions like this, and you're never sure.
You've got to go on a lottery.
It's the same with
You've got to
Glastonbury.
go on a lottery now, Dan.
People buy. I think Glastonbury tickets often sell out certainly before the headline is confirmed, before a lot of the bands, whether they're going to be there or not. Doctor Who does have a presence there. There are these pin boards up with various brands. There's Goosebumps, Percy Jackson, and Doctor Who there under the umbrella of Disney Plus. So that's there. Those are apparently dotted around the convention center, and the costumes of both the 14th and 15th Doctors. And apparently, according to Aidan McGeer in the live chat here on YouTube, the Sonic Screwdriver is there too. So we've got props and screen used costumes from not just the 60th anniversary specials, but from Series 14 are there for people to have their pictures taken with, just as these lucky people are there. And I think this is nice. This is nice. It's not as good as those costumes being full of human, but it's nice.
That could be the actual Doctor, a mannequin.
It could be. It could be. So this is all part and parcel.
Being literal.
All part and parcel of whipping people up. But yeah, I think to me, what this is signalling is it was undoubtedly the intention that Doctor Who actually be there at San Diego Comic-Con. We've got some comments here from people in the live chat who are saying various things about it, about the whole enterprise. Aidan McGeer says, I don't think Shooty being in the Barbie film will help get people watching Doctor Who after hearing it's a total woke fest. And apparently it's from the people who've seen it and who've said that. You could be right. And apparently, so Gary Akers says actors at Comic-Con can't talk about any of their projects, only about things like their favourite colour or sports. So they have to answer those kind of questions. So yeah, there was something to see, but then again there isn't. I'd have loved all this, but I wouldn't. For example, if I was travelling from where I am now and all I got to see was some costumes, I think I might be slightly pissed off. But it could please.
I reckon it'll be a trailer. Or just or something pre-recorded.
It's
something
possible.
Pre-recorded. We may get to see it within 2 weeks' time or something after Comic-Con's finished, or we may not see it at all. Maybe on a camera phone or something. Someone's going to tape something. But yeah, I think that's how they're going to play you.
Well, we do have more evidence, I believe, that they intended on being there in the form of a set of. And I think these are beautiful, brand new pictures of the cast members of Doctor Who, of all new Doctor Who. So we've got this one of David Tennant as the 14th Doctor. brandishing that new sonic screwdriver there, Simon, with the arms that come out. I think this is, again, that's the Doctor. There he is. There's the hair, Sarah. There's the coat.
I know.
The Doctor's back.
Yeah, perfect. Just very happy to see him return.
I'm glad it's not just me. I was very very enamoured with this, and there's one too. So they haven't stopped there. We've got one for the 15th Doctor as well, with his rings and giving us that. So he's doing some Capaldi hand
kissing
acting.
him.
He's channeling Capaldi there, Matt. I think.
Yeah.
I do associate that with the Doctor. I mean, Tom, there's that photo.
Yeah.
That iconic photo of Tom doing the same kind of hand. Yeah, so that is, to me, this is a good sign. And I love that.
Pertwee did it.
And Pertwee did it. Yes, he did indeed. Most of the it's just a doctorish pose, and the colour scheme looks like that poster you put up earlier of Eccleston and Billy Piper, Dan. So to me, this is hitting all the right beats for me.
I like the backgrounds on these. I must admit, I did like the backgrounds. That's definitely more the kind of thing I would be expecting to see in the background rather than rainbows.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely more
the
Doctor
most,
Who, isn't it?
That's the most
more of a
doctorish.
vortex.
That's the most doctorish I've seen shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you're getting some sort of vibe from him, at least, that there's something. Well, he's in character, isn't he? This is the first time we've really seen him properly in character. Because we've seen him running around on location and stuff, Simon. But to be fair, we don't know which of those cuts will make it to the screen, do we? Whereas that's the Doctor.
I'm not sold yet on Shooty, and that's purely because we haven't seen him. I've just got no reason to believe he's the Doctor. Just from a photo, it just isn't enough for me to believe he's the Doctor. So I do need to see him on screen and like him to then actually buy into the fact that he's the Doctor. You can stick anybody in a pose like that, and they can become the Doctor. But they're not. So I can't buy into it yet until I've seen him in action as the Doctor.
I think that's perfectly reasonable, Simon. I do, and but to see them side by side there, it's hammering home the fact that we've kind of got two new lead actors at the moment. They've also given us pictures of the girls as well, Ian. There's this one of Donna Noble there, a wonderful new character picture of her looking, I think you can tell that she's older and maybe a bit more contemplative. What do you think of this?
It's nice. I like the artwork. I'm not very fond of Donna. I think she's okay. If I was in charge of Doctor Who and bringing back the 60s, I would never have picked Donna or David Tennant. Tell you the truth, I would have picked Matt Smith.
Agree.
I would have picked Matt Smith personally, but that's just me. But I do like the artwork for this. It's really nice, and as Simon says, at least you don't have any rainbows. It's kind of like rainbows, but it's not, if you know what I mean. So
it's colourful without being rainbows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so. It's
and
nice.
It does look Doctor Who-ish. It is as simple as that.
It can't be anything else.
Exactly. in the way that the last era just never ever looked like Doctor Who, and they seemed to be making a deliberate ploy to change that. This very much looks like Doctor Who. It's as simple as that.
I love this image.
It's colourful and modern, I think, Sarah.
Yeah, and I think it's a lovely picture of Catherine. I don't think she's aged that much at all.
No, I agree.
It's just a picture. We'll see on when she's moving.
They got a lot different person to do the publicity than the people that did the Doomsday stuff. So
Well, I believe this is the graphic designer and illustrator Sophie Cowdery, who's been working on the Blu-ray steelbooks for quite a long time. I didn't realise that she'd actually gone on staff with Bad Wolf, so she's in the graphic design department now at Doctor Who. I mean, she's a fantastic talent. I do love her stuff. She did a lot of work artwork on the previous era, but I don't hold that against her. In fact, some of her artwork was the best thing about that era. So that's Donna Noble. We've got one from Ruby Sunday as well. Here she is, played by Millie Gibson. I mean, if ever you've got any doubts about all new Doctor Who, I don't think many people can have any doubts about Millie Gibson. She's full of potential and full of star power, and she's so young and she's clearly so hungry. And here she's looking to the stars in this new publicity picture there that makes up that set.
Her hands look really small for some reason.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I wasn't going to comment because I thought you might think that I was being a bit picky. But yeah, it looks like her head's
it's
slightly
small hands.
overlarged.
Is small hands a bad thing, though, Ian? I think that depends on it depends on a couple of things.
I think what me and Matt means is that the actual.
Sorry.
Yeah,
looks like a
at least Char's not here. At least Char's not here to pull me up on that one. Carry on, sorry, Matt.
No, I'm just saying that what me and Matt is saying from a design point of view and from the actual anatomy point of view, those hands look too small. They really
it looks like the picture just doesn't look quite right. Basically,
she's got diddy hands, bless her. But I like what she wears. I just think I'm really excited about her. I'm excited about Shooty. I am, for the most part. I am, despite some of the things that he's said and his fashion choices. I'm still reasonably excited about Shooty. But Millie Gibson, I think she looks like does look like a Doctor Who companion for the ages.
I agree with Dan. I think she looks like a classic companion.
Well,
I love
good
that.
for you.
Oh yeah.
We're going to find out by Christmas. We're going to find out by Christmas. And there is speculation. Of course, there is that other people could be joining the cast, and so fans have very quickly latched onto this. This isn't real, but it has been put out there. We've got Martha Jones.
I saw that one. I'm like, oh, if only.
I love Martha Jones. She left too soon. She left too soon.
She really did.
I was so disappointed when she left. That's the only time I've been disappointed. I'm like, you can't leave.
Yeah,
you're awesome.
You only just started.
As Martha Jones.
It was very annoying when she left, I thought. But anyway. Yeah.
So put them all side by side here, and we have these are our 4 cast members that are going to take us through the next 12 months of hopefully on these 4 people. This once great show will be great again, Simon. I'm keeping the faith. 4 great posters. If you didn't feel the Sonic, you weren't feeling Shooty's fashion, any of that stuff, or the enormous box set of Blu-rays that's going to cost people $200. But I'm glad to hear we found something that you are feeling. This is stirring you somehow.
Yeah. As I say, I like the artwork. I still just can't feel that invested in it. It still just feels like nice pictures without me actually thinking, I can't wait for this to appear on screen. There's just not enough tangible stuff there for me yet to think, wow, I can't wait for this. So I'm very indifferent to it still. But it's lovely artwork. So it's at least a step in the right direction.
It's funny because the 2 pictures with Donna and David, they have more of the red. And then the other 2 have more of the blue, don't they?
Yeah, they thought about it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, very, very, very nicely done. I mean, the reason why people are obviously they go to Comic-Con, and this is why I believe that they intended David or Shooty, or maybe both of them, maybe all 4 of them. I believe they intended them to be at San Diego Comic-Con, because these are exactly the kind of character, they call them character posters, that you get for every single big film that comes out, and certainly every big Disney Plus show, whether it be something to do with the MCU, whether you get it connected to Star Wars or any of their other brands, they all get these character posters. I mean, you know what I'm saying. You've seen those, haven't you, Sarah?
It does look quite Disney-ish. It has to be said. Now you've said it.
Yeah, they'd give them out for nothing at Comic-Con, just for promotion.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you see them scattered around everywhere. So yeah, no, I agreed, and I think that was the original intention.
In fact, they are at San Diego Comic-Con with those 2 there up large. We've got a picture here from, this is credited to Luke Spillane. So this is a huge billboard there. I can't believe they weren't planning on having some of them there when they were clearly putting them up that large.
Yeah, they probably were. And it's a shame, really, because it would be really nice to, hear what they're going to say and, and see how they react. I'm pretty sure that Shooty and Tennant would be on stage at the same time. It'd be nice to hear what Tennant thinks of Shooty and how he blesses the show and blah, 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 blah. But
they might have got an unemployed doctor to show up.
We've got some comments here in the live chat. Richard Brooks says, I'm sorry, San Diego Comic-Con looks lame this year. I hope folks have a nice time, though. I'm sure there will be lots of cool stuff. It's still meh for me so far. Richard Brooks, blimey, Richard, you're a tough
That's me, meh.
Young Shaft says Jack Thursby. That is so damn good, says Carol Jude. So again, though, with this, I think you either feel this kind of stuff or you don't. And I think this is the kind of thing that the people who've been frustrated at the lack of anything over the last few months, this is the kind of stuff that they've wanted to see, almost to reward faith and to assure us that it is coming. We are going to get to see this. The colour scheme reminds me of season 18 Tom Baker Scarf, said Richard Brooks in the live chat there on YouTube. And yeah, I think generally speaking, people seem to like this. Love the same colour motif. And it's the back and forth time travel of the vortex. Oh, that's right, because in the original David Tennant and Chris Eccleston ones, the time vortex changed colour, didn't it, depending on whether they were going backwards or forwards in time. Do you remember that, Sarah?
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, that's a nice touch. Memories. Yeah.
Carol says San Diego Comic-Con was going to be a repeat of the early ones, wasn't it? Damn strike. I side with the writers, but the timing is like UPS threatening to strike in mid-November. So that would be around Thanksgiving, wouldn't it? Which would probably drive a lot of Americans around the absolute bend. We got it finished off with this beautiful new rendering of the new, still newish, oldish Doctor Who logo. So that's always nice to see. The novelty of that still hasn't particularly worn off for me, I have to say. And with that new colour scheme there too, which it reminds me of Autumn Nights there, or the Northern Lights. That's what I'm telling myself. So I'm loving this stuff.
Here. It looks like an aurora here. I don't know if you've ever seen an aurora in the sky, but we get them all the time down here. So, and they're absolutely beautiful. So, yeah.
Marvelous stuff. So yeah, keep your eyes and ears peeled. Something may be coming. Someone may be coming to San Diego Comic-Con. We've got the Future of Doctor Who panel on Friday, whatever that means. There's a Comics of Doctor Who panel coming as well. I think Dan Slott's at that and Jodie Hauser. So Dan Slott has that special coming out later in the year. It's like a one-shot comic. Dan Slott, bit of a gobshite, but he's been writing comics for a very long time and he's had some success. It has to be said. I think he's the longest ever writer on Amazing Spider-Man. He's a big Doctor Who fan, so fair play to him. I'll look forward to that one shot. Probably pick that up. Jodie Hauser, I'm less keen on her, and there's a couple of other creatives there too. So there's that. So just think there's two panels, but are there going to be any actors, any news, and more importantly, is Matt Pott right? Are they going to give us a trailer? I say they have to give us something.
I think they will, because that's what Comic-Con's all about, to show you previews of
yeah, haven't they in the last couple of years, not to bring up dead bones or anything, but in the last few years, because haven't they been doing these like weren't they doing like previously like live not live, but pre-recorded things and then showing a trailer with the showrunner and that?
Yes,
and the actors.
Yes, they have been.
So this is the first time really that this is like a live thing. So I think it'll be slightly different.
The question is, are they allowed to show it because of the strike and the writer's strike and the actor's strike? Are they allowed to show it? That's the question. So, but the thing is, though, I feel, as Starry-Eyed said, I feel sorry for all those people that saved up their money all through the year just to go to this fantastic Comic-Con, and then suddenly
you got to win a ticket. It's a lottery. You've got to win the ticket first, a chance to buy one.
Yeah.
When I went, it was the year before they actually introduced it because it was so massive. Now that's a part of the reason why it's dying off, is because it's becoming more. Yeah, and much more elitist as well.
There is a feeling as well, Matt, that I've certainly noticed. People who are in the know about such things in the comics industry and pundits on large YouTube channels, or just people who actually work at these studios or have worked at these studios, there's a growing feeling out there that this isn't going to be a short-term thing, and that Comic-Con as it was may not ever be back, and that things have changed permanently, which I think could, obviously freshening things up is a good thing, isn't it? But I think when you've got a show like Doctor Who, which needs that kind of stage to recapture people again, or let's put it this way, it would be advantageous that it had that stage, had that forum to reach people again, Sarah. It's frustrating as a Doctor Who fan to see it all stop for a combination of reasons, including the strike at the time where Doctor Who needs it the very, very most.
Yeah, this show and this brand, aside from the classic Blu-ray sets, it's not in a healthy place. It's been on life support for some time, and this is, this is what it needed. It needed this kick up the arse, so to speak, especially for the American audience. I would have said, I do think that has been particularly damaged, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, if this Disney Plus deal, makes a difference. Sorry, go on, Matt.
No, you go.
We need it to be a big deal again. I mean, it is fantastic if it's a big deal in this country again. That's brilliant, but I think for it to survive, it does need to be back on that world stage. And at the moment, it's I don't think it has fell off. I was going to say I'm being too unkind, and it's at the edge, but no, I don't think recently it has toppled off that stage.
The thing is, the internet has actually changed the way that people view the world. As far as Comic-Con used to be a place for announcements and stuff like that, and the fact that now a lot of people are using, like I said, camera phones and all that sort of thing now, rather than it was sort of destroying that part of the reason why people were going to these conventions, to get the inside information before everybody else. And it became to the point where these studios had to release the trailers or whatever that they were showing afterwards, because everything was getting leaked. And so they've become more of, we want to keep this to ourselves. We'll release it when we want. So they've decided not to. This has happened in the video game industry, and E3, which is another huge convention thing for it's a computer electronic convention.
There hasn't been one of those for 3 or 4 years either, has there?
No, because it died because of the fact that people were wanting their announcements. Things were getting leaked. Posters were getting leaked. Because there are a lot of merchandise and everything that they also have that they pass out to people, like posters and all this sort of thing. And so it was getting to the point where they just wanted to keep it all to themselves. So they were releasing these like video vignettes sort of thing with their announcements. And that way the world knew, and when they wanted them to know. So, and it sort of killed off the whole convention. I mean, when Comic-Con first started, it's in the name, comics. People used to go and buy comics there, and it just became so big that it literally ate itself.
Yeah,
because it became more about
in its
comics publishers couldn't afford booths there, and it was people
and artists as well.
People that
There's an
created
artist's alley.
Comic-Con.
It got kicked down the side. Artist's Alley was like one of the biggest things where you could meet your favorite artist or whatever.
The people that created Comic-Con, they started in their garage, would you believe, and now it's become this huge thing. But I don't think Comic-Con's going to go away. I think the studios will still use that as a platform too, because you got TV shows and streaming and stuff like that. Streaming, no matter what anyone says here, streaming is going to stay. But unfortunately, it's gonna evolve into something by using ads to actually get money rolling in and stuff like that. It's gonna stay.
They've already cancelled that.
Yeah. So I reckon Comic-Con's not gonna go away. I reckon it's gonna be there, but it's gonna be a different kind
It'll
of
be a
Comic-Con.
lot smaller.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember too, something like San Diego Comic-Con. San Diego literally lives on Comic-Con. When Comic-Con's there, it's only for a weekend. But when it's
millions.
Big, it's like when I was there, it was like over 100,000 people.
Yep.
Over 5 days in a little small, like a stadium type place. It's stinky, it's horrible, but you just love every minute of it.
I've got a comment here. This is from Peter Harrington, who asks, "Is there any word as regards a cinema release or an XL type event for the 60th anniversary?" I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything about this, Simon?
No,
anything that could
whatsoever. No, but I mean, nothing's coming out generally. Full stop, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
No possible dates, nothing at all. So I don't honestly feel in my heart that they will do a cinema release. I think it's impossible in the current state of the program. We've got to remember when the cinema release, for example, happened for the 50th, that's because Doctor Who was just huge at the time. It's not huge now. I just don't think a cinema release would work.
No.
Obviously, if you have other ideas, let us know in the comments section, and about any of this stuff, about San Diego Comic-Con, about what you'd like. What do you think they should do to promote this? I mean, Simon's absolutely right. There's no way of getting away from that, is there? In an ideal world, we wouldn't be where we are. But what would you like to see in an ideal world, or what are you still hanging out for? We're all ears. Even if the BBC aren't, let us know in the comments section here on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. While you're at it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next. Doctor Who returns in November 2023 with those 3 60th anniversary specials. God, we've been saying this for months. Starring David Tennant as the 14th Doctor, with Catherine Tate back as Donna Noble. And then the festive special, the Christmas special. Come on, BBC. The Christmas special, that's coming up with Ncuti Gatwa. That's where he'll take the lead as the 15th Doctor there. That's where we're going to get to see him meeting Ruby Sunday for the very first time. And that's their full series together is going to debut sometime in 2024. Let us know how much you're anticipating it all. We're all ears. Okay, let's head back. And for one last segment, I think, before we head off. Yes, so here we are again with more of these. Where are they? Let's get this up. Yeah, it's that time.
I love that picture. It just makes me laugh.
Pretty pictures time, everybody. So we have some wonderful artwork from across the Whoniverse from various artists, both digital and traditional. And first of all, now earlier on we looked at the season 20 box set there, as always, with artwork by Tea Lady Design. That's Lee Binding, who's been working on those releases now for 5 years, but he's been on the Doctor Who brand for a lot longer. In fact, since the mid-noughties, since the series came back. His artwork used to be all over the BBC website, Ian. Did you ever go to that website, and do you remember seeing images like this?
I remember seeing images like this, but I didn't go to the website. This takes me back to nice.
I had that as a wallpaper.
Oh, really?
PC? Yes, so did I. Yeah. This was obviously for Army of Ghosts and Doomsday, wasn't it? And that's Canary Wharf in the background with all the golden Daleks and Cybermen, the stompy wompies, as you call them.
It was great, though. I mean, it was the first time the Daleks versus the Cybermen, and I was just excited, personally. Yeah.
TV magic. I had people who'd been ripping the piss out of Doctor Who for years, who came back for this and thought it was absolutely spectacular. Now, this was the original promotional artwork that was all over that website. Obviously, Lee Binding, he's been around quite a lot since then. He's done multiple artworks that have been used across all sort of media. Well, he went back and had another pass at this concept. What would this be like if he did it now? And so we've got the 2023 upgrade there. We've got Canary Wharf in the background, more golden Daleks, with the Cybermen looking somewhat more animated, and one of them is firing a rifle as well there. What do you think, Matt?
Well, I think in that first one, all the Cybermen were exactly the same. They did.
They were.
He literally
repeat.
So obviously, it's probably a little bit with the Daleks, but other than that, I think it's phenomenal. It's really good, and it's just amazing. When you go back to revisit something, I try to avoid that, but when you go back to, a lot of people go back, it's just completely different from the original, and it works better. People are more prouder, you know. It's hard when you're an artist and you're not as proud with your artwork, and you're like, I could have done better.
I'd like to think that Lee will still be in place if these sets do get around to doing the new series. As I said, that they've said that's the intention. We've been told that, haven't we, by numerous people from the label, haven't we, Simon? So we know that's their intention. But then again, they take. I don't know, take each release as it comes now because it's been so successful. But that obviously we don't know what we're going to get when and if ever. But yeah, I really do love this. And I think Lee's fantastic at what he does.
Both versions are fantastic. But I'd buy this as a poster, I really would. But
yeah.
Yeah, it just looks
Cybermat
so
Strikes
exciting.
doesn't like the flying Daleks, even after nearly 40 years, if you count Remembrance and Revelation of the Daleks, still doesn't like the flying Cybermen. We've got this one next. So Donna Noble, of course, she's back on screen with David Tennant's Doctor, with the new David Tennant's Doctor, as we're used to seeing them, to recapture that magic from all the way back in 2006 through to 2008. But what if Donna travelled with one of the earlier Doctors? Have you ever wondered what that would be like?
I'd probably kick her out. Kick her out the TARDIS, probably.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I left the doors open. Whoops.
Well, the artist Halvorvik, they've imagined it for you, Matt. We've got this little cartoon here of the Ninth Doctor and Donna Noble, and the Doctor is scowling and saying, "Be honest, do I actually ask you to travel with me, or do you just sneak into the TARDIS?" And she's got her hands on her hips. She looks so mardy and stuff.
I love that. I bet that
she
was
just hounds you to death.
Sorry, Sarah, what was that?
I think this would be so brilliant. You know, like a mini-sode or something, like for comic relief, or it'll never happen, but it would be funny.
What I like about these, obviously, they're very simple. They don't look like them as such, but they capture the attitude of such an exchange. I like seeing things like this on greetings cards, Simon. Just little asides that make you smile.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. It looks perfect for a Doctor Who greetings card, doesn't it? Well, again, it comes back to what we said in the past. It's just nice to see people with some imagination coming up with completely different stuff. That I don't know how we do these pictures every week, and we always seem to see completely different things. They never seem to repeat any ideas. So it's just one of those things that Doctor Who just brings out the best in people's imagination, and that's what I just love to see with some of this artwork.
Yeah, I think that
the love that's poured into it.
The Ninth Doctor looks like that bloke Lee Hurst who used to be on They Think It's All Over back in the 1990s. That's what reminds me of there. We do have a new piece as well from one of our very favourite traditional artists, Simon. I think you're going to love this. Oliver Arkenstall-Jones has been asked again with one of his retro posters for classic Doctor Who stories. These are a mixture of paints and digital artwork, I believe. And this is for the Patrick Troughton classic Doctor Who and the Evil of the Daleks.
Oh, that's fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely
brilliant.
Love that. That is just because what I love that he's done there is he's made it look like the third Dalek film after the two Peter Cushing films. With the Daleks writ large like that, it could be the third Amicus Dalek film. Absolutely love that. Just beautiful. That's
replace the Doctor with Christopher Lee or something. That'd be fantastic.
We have in the live chat, we've got Fabulous from Crimpling Doubloon, Classy from Lord Thoth. That's sound, says Tony L. I like it, says Richard Brooks. Yay, Richard!
Yay, we got one. They've made it look like a 70s kind of thriller. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's 60s thriller, not 70s. But them Daleks look amazing.
Every single time, Sarah, we put one of Oliver's artworks up on screen, I always finish off by saying, I think that's his best one yet. Every time. I'm going to resist it this time, but it is wonderful. I love the colours. I love the impact of it. And the fact you've got the house in the background. And the final end of the Daleks, because this was intended to be the final Dalek story, wasn't it, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They were going to clear out in this from 1967. That was going to be it. because Terry Nation was off to America, and he was determined he was selling the Daleks to America, and so had withdrawn permission for the BBC to use them, and that's why they don't then appear for about 3-4 years.
And the Cybermen showed up instead, didn't they?
Well, the Cybermen were way before that.
Oh, yeah, but they became more prominent.
A couple of years before that. But yes, you're correct, Matt. Yes, they did. The Cybermen grew in prominence after that during the Patrick Troughton years. One of the reasons being that, yes, they were losing the Daleks.
I do like the way he's put those lines, like he's just unfolded the poster.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's
nice.
A quad poster, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite nice.
It's lovely.
Nice touches. Some of them he puts, if you remember, Ian, sometimes he does alternative versions as kind of Spanish horror movies, and puts all the text, all the type. He actually puts it in Spanish.
It'd work in Japanese too. Japanese text.
It's very good. The only, as an artist myself, the only thing I would have had the main Dalek in the middle, further up, and Troughton in the middle.
I would have put Windsor Davies in there too.
Yeah.
Mark Milford in the live chat, Ian, says, if you think about it, many of the classic stories were like films.
They were. I mean, as I said, right, it just goes to show, right, and I hate to say this, I'm more excited about the 5 Doctors coming out and classic and new Who, or they call it Golden Who now. I'm more excited about revisiting them than the new stuff that's happening. But fingers crossed, this new stuff is going to be good. So yeah.
I just want to see Daleks like that again.
If you are a fan artist, or you know a fan artist that you think ought to get on our radar, you can get in touch with us through our social media, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
I know one.
At Type 40 Doctor Who.
His name is Matt Pott. I know
one. We're all ears. Put us in touch with them. Send us a link to their work, and we may get some of it up on screen. And if you are a fan artist and you're brave enough to send your work into the panel here at Type 40 Live, we'll have a look for you, and we'll pour over it and show the world, show the vortex. And if you want to see some more old favourites here, we're going to finish off with this one. Do you recognise this?
No. Should I?
Simon Horton, do you recognise this?
Simon probably.
No, it all looks slightly worrying, to be honest.
Yeah. If yours does look like that out there, go to the GPs in the morning.
Doctor, it's got a face on it.
This, I'll have you know,
looking at me.
Matthew, I'll have you know this is a Seraphim.
Of course it is. Of course it is. How silly of me. It looks a bit like Peter Capaldi as a Seraphim. That's what it looks like.
It does actually.
And that's why I was trying to think, is it Peter Capaldi? But no, of course it's Seraphim. Brilliant.
So this is now Peter Ian's cartoons. If you're watching Ian's cartoons, yes, this is Peter Capaldi as a Seraphim.
Oh, there we go.
No,
it's not.
From the 1982 classic Time Flight. Him using all his glory in more ways than one, and I do like this because I'm quite.
That'll be in the later eras.
Look, there can't be many fans out there who have done fan art on Seraphim.
That's why I thought I'd put this up on screen. I like Ian's work. I think this is lovely. This is the kind of stuff that I do, but he's more productive than I. He just bang out Doctor Who piece after Doctor Who piece. I don't think I've drawn Doctor Who for months, if not a couple of years, but he's banging this stuff out, and he's going more and more obscure with his characters. And even when I first saw this, I thought, is that yeah, it is. So yeah, I think this is great, and I've got a soft spot for Time Flight, if I'm being completely honest. So it's nice to see a bit of fan art connected to a story that is generally and perhaps justly somewhat unloved. I think that's so that wraps up the gallery the Pretty Pictures Gallery, this time on Type 40 Live. I do hope you've enjoyed it. And yes, send us your fan art, or send us the links to people on Instagram or DeviantArt or wherever, if you think that we ought to know who they are. This is Type 40 Live, which we stream to, not just to YouTube, the world's largest streaming platform, but the plucky pretender to the throne, to Rumble, and over to Facebook, to the Type 40 Facebook group and Facebook page, and everybody over there. It's been another riot of a show. There's loads of stuff that we haven't covered. And as always, I have no idea where the last 2.5 and a bit hours has gone, everybody. That's been down to my friends here on the panel, the fabulous Sir Matthew of Pot, the beautiful starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham, the tardy but always welcome and enigmatic Ian David Deers, the mega geek, and our friend Simon Horton there, who should be on his bloody holidays. Bless his heart.
Bless him.
But he's here anyway.
Missed you last week, mate.
Once again, our apologies for the technical problems we've had here in the console room on this edition of the show. I know that people have been commenting about all of this. We've tried to get to as much as we can. We couldn't get it up on screen, so I've been going through it on other devices and things like that. But we'll go back through it and we'll pick out some gems, and maybe we'll put them on for an extra or a feedback episode or something like that, because I know that you guys have had lots to say, and it would be silly to go without checking it all out around the back, wouldn't it, Millie? Yes, she agrees completely. No, you can see them this time. You can see them, but I was looking somewhere else.
Charlotte, you've left me with the boys.
Yes, this is the 60th anniversary year of Doctor Who, and at last we're getting that bristle that Russell T Davies promised us, aren't we? It seems to be coming. It's not thick and fast, but at least it's coming. Let us know what you think of it all through our social medias, Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who. Can November come fast enough for you? I don't know. Did you manage to get in your order for the 14th Doctor's brand new Sonic there on character options? Even though, excuse me, even though it wasn't cheap, was it? Because you could always flip it on eBay if you change your mind. I don't know. More Type 40 Live, of course, coming up next time. Whoever's here in the console room, that's for us to know and for you to find out. I'd like to think, with the best will in the world, Simon, you know you're always welcome. It's always great to see you. I'd like to think that you'll be on your holidays by next week, but
who can say?
Brilliant stuff. And yeah, as always, thanks to everybody who's been watching in the live chat there across our social medias. Lots we didn't get into. More to come next week, no doubt. Keep watching. Yeah, there's that Future of Doctor Who panel tomorrow at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. What will they say? Who will be there, if anybody? I've got no idea. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Maybe we'll hit you back with some of our thoughts. If there's anything to comment on, I have absolutely no idea. Thanks for being here, everybody. I think it's the bit where we say goodnight, isn't it? Right after remind people to, please like the video one last time. Please like this video. Subscribe to the channel, all you lurkers out there, and hit the cloister bell to get the notifications about what is coming next, whether it's the next edition.
Yeah, please leave a comment and we will get back to you.
Commenting the main thing.
Yeah, and get on that Death to the Daleks review with myself, Simon Horton, and the actor and massive Doctor Who fan, Stephen Noonan. It's probably one of the best reviews we've ever put out, and we've recorded the next one as well. It's our longest ever edition of the podcast. I'm not going to tell you what it's about yet, but if you like the last one, you're going to love what we've got coming up.
Is it Delta and the Bannerman?
Don't tell the punters that we always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, that's it for this one. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you again soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.